Diamond. Is it a girl's best friend or a comic book collector's worst enemy?
Ooh.
Diamond Comics Distributors has been having some issues the past good while. And after declaring bankruptcy, I want to say like 3 weeks back, things have gone downhill since then.
You have to think they're probably collecting the issues really more than having them, you know.
Are they manually pasting things together post bankruptcy? Is that why the delays are happening?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, they can't afford staples.
They're taping it. Fold, and bend.
well, if you noticed, we're here with 3 pals this week. Maybe not the 3 you've been used to for the past couple weeks, but we have 3 pals here. Hi, I'm Tyler. I'm here with Marco.
What's up, pals?
And is it pronounced Calais?
Let me see if I still got it.
Okay,
I
yeah.
I may not.
Yeah.
What's up, hot dogs?
Cale, bad news. I had my gallbladder removed last week. That's why I was absent from the show. I don't think I can have hot dogs anymore. So, do you have like a white meat Mediterranean diet substitute for a hot dog?
I could start. I never occurred to me, especially being on the streets of New York, it never occurred to me to become like a halal cart. But I suppose, you know,
Halal, no haram, bro.
Well, we're here. It's Comics Pals. We are gonna talk about some Diamond. So Diamond, we're gonna try.
We got to address that elephant in the room.
Sean might be coming any second now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just got a call, so I'm gonna have Marco reach out to him. Okay. Yeah. So we are gonna be talking about the Diamond bankruptcy fallout. A lot of kind of a slow week for news, mostly, except if you're a physical comics creator. It's been a weird week. So if you watched House Bulls this past week, the one of us that collects physically at this point, Sean, had some trouble getting some books.
How many was he down?
Cale, he had his lowest amount of books
Ever.
We were at a solid 10.
I was gonna say, let me guess, 3.
Oh no, we still have to read 6 for the show, Cale. You're
listen,
that rusty? Jeez.
Like, if he can't get them, what can you do?
Well, he didn't get any of the Image books, which is rough because it was Rick Remender week.
Oh no, 6. He got 6 books.
Yeah.
Rough.
So
week.
yeah, it was a rough week. So the Image, and this is at one of the biggest distributors of comics, Hydra Comics, in the East Coast. No Image books is a big deal. So seeing that was kind of jarring. And it just shows that this, after Diamond, declared bankruptcy a while back, there's been some significant fallout. And pretty quickly too. The previous to this, Diamond had been closing up a couple of warehouses, also on the East Coast, where a lot of the smaller indie publishers might not get their books delivered on time. In indie, as much as like Image is indie at this point.
Which is a wild consideration considering the third largest publisher.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a little nuts to see that. But there's been some kind of significant fallout throughout. Marco, did you want to talk about IDW for a little bit? Let's tackle that right away.
Yeah, I mean, in addition to the Chapter 11 filed by Diamond, we also just heard that IDW is similarly going to be going through a bankruptcy. They had really just poor numbers this past quarter. They are publicly traded, so for anybody who takes a look at those things, you can see them in aggregate. They are they've just been having rougher and rougher quarters, rougher and rougher months, especially the more recently released annual investment report. Quote, had a section that expressed, quote, substantial doubt on their ability to continue as an ongoing concern. So it's been downhill for a number of publishers. And I guess my worry is Image, IDW is feeling some kind of fallout. uh, is the expectation that all of the smaller publishers are going to start to feel this ripple effect, at least those that are within Diamond Comics?
I mean, that's a distinct possibility. And think about IDW as a company. Like that's even though it's small indie, it's got Ninja Turtles. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not. It's about as outside of like Image, it's probably the next big one. Really, Dark Horse and Boom may be kind of close, but I think IDW is
Yeah.
probably the next big one because of Ninja Turtles. If you look at the sales
Especially
charts, yeah,
modern IDW.
yes, even with
Yeah.
that whack ass logo.
Yeah. Listen, that's probably a big reason.
The familiarity there.
But I've seen a lot of other indie publishers trying to switch over to Lunar and switching over to whatchamacallit, a Penguin as
Yeah,
well.
Penguin Random House.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that ideally is a solution to be able to save them from a publishing standpoint, but like otherwise, we've had the discussion of Diamond was able to hold certain monetary function, like if you could not pay for a certain number of books or you only had a certain number of orders, and uh, there was an amount that they'd be able to I guess hold against, and it's hard to be able to imagine a situation where, in light of that, there is no fallback for an IDW under Penguin Random House. That they have to be tight. Other publishers have to be tight, because if not, there isn't any room to be like, hey, let me owe you on this.
Sean, you there?
Quite.
Oh, okay. Mike's having issues. Okay.
Oh,
You're there, Sean. I hear
There it
you now, yeah.
is.
okay. Well, Marco used the word "oh." I owe you guys an apology. I overslept for class.
Oh no, you had the dream.
I had the dream. This is the first time in 8 years I overslept for class. I am so sorry.
Happens to the best of us.
And
to
the
the
worst of
Conspals.
us.
Well,
You didn't have to call me out like that on my first day.
I can't believe I missed your first. Well, I missed a few minutes of your first day. Welcome back, Cale.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Don't worry, Sean. I had a pretty decent intro that I was proud of, and then I started waffling. So you're good now.
So we at least got the intro.
Yeah.
Well, okay, all right, that's good. How far along into this are you guys?
We
I don't
just
wanna-
kind of tapped into the IDW of it all, but I don't know exactly where in your plans you had. So feel free to just go for it.
All right, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So if we're on the subject of IDW, yeah, IDW is in trouble. IDW is in big trouble now. And this is one of the dominoes. When we talked about this 2 weeks ago, we talked about the dominoes that were going to fall in the immediate, the short term, the medium term, and the long term. This is one of those short term dominoes that's looking bad, because we underestimate how important Diamond has been, not just to stores that they acted as a bank for, but also for publishers. They need to get these books out. IDW isn't a Marvel or DC or even an Image who can afford the kinds of delays that we're seeing. When it happens for an IDW, that's going to lead to some collapse. And they're not the only publisher that we're going to talk about who is having to reevaluate now that this is happening to Diamond.
that's the big worry, is how does that affect all of the other players who are of the same size? Like, they are, if I remember from when I was doing my charts, like 4%, 5%, and this was obviously whenever we had Diamond numbers, but there are only so many other publishers that are of that size, and then under them, 1% to 2% of the rest of the market is like 70 to 100 other publishers.
Right. Yeah. It's a really scary situation. And we know that IDW has been having problems. IDW's numbers haven't been amazing. TMNT definitely is their standout success.
It's their anchor.
Yeah. But outside of that, and some Star Trek stuff, they've been struggling. So this is like the worst thing that can happen to them right now.
And IDW mentioned like they had there's severe doubt in their future. I think that's how they quoted things. What does that mean? like does that mean we don't get, like, they just can't publish comics anymore? Do they go fully digital? It's almost like the doomsaying we've been having for comics is happening on a smaller scale with these smaller publishers. So like IDW doesn't have a Marvel Unlimited, doesn't have a DC Universe. What happens if the worst happens?
We lose IDW.
We lose IDW and nobody else can pick them up. Like
Ninja Turtles joins the Energon universe. Like what happened? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, that'd be kind of wild.
Kirkman is just rubbing his hands like a fly right now.
like they they the Ninja Turtles license is owned by Nickelodeon and Paramount, and getting that license renewed was a fight in the first place, and so to get this reset going and to have this news behind it, I have to imagine Nickelodeon and Paramount would shovel it off somewhere way quick.
This is a bad look. It really is. And the quote, I'm not sure if this is exactly what Tyler was referencing, but there is an article here. We're referencing a lot of Bleeding Cool stuff. Shout out to Rich Johnston for his incredible work. And IDW says IDW is also making its own assessment of the relevant contractual language and the rights and obligations of the parties in respect to this situation. In light of the foregoing, as of the date of this report, we are unable to determine the potential impact. However, it may have a significant negative impact on our future financial results and cash position. The company will work to minimize any impact to the extent possible. We are looking at a reality in which there may not be an IDW the way we think of IDW, even in the next year.
Sean, was this all these quotes, was this from an earnings call?
Yeah, this is from an annual. Well, it's an annual investors report.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
they're effectively losing money. The article does mention from 2023 they lost in operation, so just them running as a business, 3.9 million. This past year, 2024, they only lost 1.4 million. So improvements, and they're losing less money, but they are still losing money as a business.
Matt Fisher dropped $1.99 on us. Thank you, Matt. 0 out of 5 stores I've gone to got TMNT this week. Wow.
Wow.
it's impressive you have 5 stores nearby, first of all.
Yeah, right?
Hey, where do you live at?
I live in New York City, and that's still tricky for us.
Live in Cali, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's an awful truth. I can't even believe that. But I couldn't get Image this week. Like, think about how crazy it is that you go to the store. Like, in what other industry would you go to the store and you have no idea what they're gonna have that
what main product they're gonna have?
Yeah. It's not like you went to, you went to the grocery store and they didn't have like a very obscure type of milk that you like or something like that. Like, wow, I can't, that sucks. They didn't get it this time. No, dude, TMNT is a major comic that sells a lot of copies. They just don't have it.
Man,
The whole milk to the 2% oat milk.
I don't think there's 2% oat milk, Marco.
Well, that's how rare it is.
Well, and that
okay.
2% oat milk is holding up an entire corner of the industry.
Yeah, the poly community.
Samuel Summers with the $2 says, I'm happy that all of the pals are here. Well, you know what? I'm happy that you're here, dude. Thank you guys for being here, whether you were live or in the future. Make sure you smash that like button. I don't see enough likes on this. Is that how we do? If I'm not here, we don't smash the like button? What's up? Hit it. Hit the like button. Super chats are open. You guys see that. Let's have a great time. I mean, this isn't a great conversation in terms of like the subject matter, but we can still have a good time.
So definitely like it.
Yeah. Divinity Comics says, I'm not even worried about it. For people in indie comics like me, it's actually a good thing. The LCSs have been failing for a long time. The floppy model is unsustainable. Okay. Well, what kind of comics do you do? Do you do comics that fit the mainstream market? Do you sell comics at comic book conventions? How do you make your bones? Because I'll tell you this, when you're celebrating the death or comfortable with the death or not worried about the death of these publishers and these local comic book shops, you're saying goodbye to all those things. People who love comics, people who love superhero comics, people who love mass market books are the ones that go to Comic-Con. Don't get it twisted. Dogman is extremely popular. Webtoons are extremely popular. All that stuff is massive. And it's outside the purview of the industry that you make money in. Just because you make indie comics does not mean that you're not supported by the larger industry, because that's where people sell their books at these Comic Cons that won't be around if there is no industry of comics.
I mean, the other option is direct to consumer indie stuff like Kickstarter and stuff like that. But a lot of those Kickstarters make a lot of money by selling to comic shops too,
Right.
through like the higher tiers.
And again, the interest in comics that exists changes when you don't have the industry of comics surrounding it. People go, wow, there's no more big two, there's no more indies. How do you get your start in that? If you're a new person to comics, let's say you just started, and you go to your shop and the only thing that's there is Marvel and DC. How do you know what else is out there? How do you know to look for an indie book? How do you know to get started in that lane? It's just
you gotta be able to use social media, which is great right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My indie comic that has a Bitcoin attached to it.
And I think the other thing to call out here is these references to like electronics. The analogies to other industries I think are different because there's only one place you can buy physical comics, and that is at an LCS. You can't get them elsewhere. Whereas a TV, sure, you get it somewhere else. Movies, the DVD has gone away. We have other kind of format, but the size of the market when it comes to physical is largely that. It is physical. It is 90% compared to the 10% of digital, and you can't just suddenly flip the switch on that. You will still have people. You will still have people who will find the comics, who will be able to go and purchase those things. But I don't think that means that all the 90%, maybe it optimistically in my eyes, 40 to 50% of those people of the 90 decide to switch over to something digital, and that's a very high estimation.
The thing we're talking about here is that it is the fact that comics, the industry, capital, the industry, right, is dying. It's suffering a massive blow. Comics will never die. We can all agree on that. We will always get comics. The problem is we're here to talk about an industry within a medium that we love. So which facilitates all of us getting comics in a medium that we love. So I don't know. This sucks, and to not be worried is short-sighted.
Brain Tissue Paper says Kickstarter is fine for special editions and big deluxe books, but for floppies, I don't see that working, especially with the length of turnaround you usually see with Kickstarter campaigns. So just to quickly put a finer point on the super indie aspect of it all, and where do these publishers go, or where does an individual person go, right? First of all, with the tariffs, I mean, I don't know if you guys addressed that, and that's a larger
Haven't
element
touched
of
it
the
yet.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, not yet.
Like that's supposed to happen today,
Yeah.
right? And
EU
so
too. There's tariffs on the EU coming up as well. So
oh, beautiful. Yes,
yeah,
that's
let's
wonderful.
just tariff
Won't
all of our
alienate
allies.
everybody.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love it. That's a joke, by the way.
Interesting that tariff sounds like tear off. We're gonna tear off all our allies. Yeah, nice. Wow.
Yes, let's just fucking
Interesting.
ruin everything. Did you guys read Undiscovered Country? Anybody?
Oh, actually, that place is kind of cool.
Oh, what do you mean?
I don't know. There was that one island where it was like all the myths of the American people come to life, and it's a really good book. Check it out. The U.S. does not end up too well once it gets siloed off from the rest of the world. Just saying.
Oh, okay. You were okay. I see. Yeah. Well, that's a great book, and I feel like that's where we're going. It is a real comic. Scott Snyder, Charles Soule. I love it.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's where we're going.
Yeah.
With this now, it's ridiculous. But the point I was trying to make is that everything gets harder for the little guy in this situation. Everything gets harder for the little guy. People who read comics in the industry of comics, the mass market reader, is conditioned to read comics a certain way. They will find a way, potentially, I'm not even convinced of that necessarily, to continue to read what Marvel and DC put out. If that has to be digital, sure, so be it. But you're kidding yourself if you think that those same people, those Marvel and DC loyalists, many of whom don't even look at indie books ever, are suddenly going to say, well, you know what? Now that there's no LCS and now that there's no, Comic-Con and everything like that, I'm going to go on Kickstarter and buy Joe Schmo's comic just on a lark. His $9.99 30-page floppy, because that's how Kickstarter people publish these books, $9.99 for a standard book. No one's doing that in this new world that we might be going into. It's not happening. The small guy is the first guy to lose in every scenario.
It makes it more difficult to put the thing out. Like, it won't make it impossible, but to be in a place where there's high traffic and high visibility because there's an expected routine from a group of people that you're from the audience that you're trying to sell to, you lose access to those things. I think it's losing access to those points and those people who would otherwise, on a whim, maybe buy the book. That's not to say that you can't go those alternative routes, and you have to adapt. I guess that's the bigger thing here is ultimately it's about adapting to wherever the market's going to go, because maybe there will be a situation where the floppy market 100% changes because you're paying $10 for Lex in the City, but that $10 becomes everything else in every other comic, right?
Yep.
There was a comment made earlier about, it's only pharmaceuticals and microchips, etc. But lumber is one of the biggest things that gets imported and that gets pulped. Those things get created to make paper.
Lumber isn't being tariffed. I just looked it up. That's not something that's on the docket just yet. But petroleum and gas and cars are as well, and that is how you transport stuff. So even if it's not directly taxed, the fallout from the original tariffs will cause potential runoff to all the other industries.
Gage says, I've seen some no names do well on Kickstarter. Of course you have, dude. There's always,
That's what the place is built on.
right. Come on.
Yeah,
That's not the point. Isn't that the point? Isn't that no one will ever make it again? The point is that it gets exponentially harder to do, and it's already hard as fuck to do. It's already extremely difficult to be nobody and jump on Kickstarter and make money in comics. And then you're going to tell me on top of that that now there's no industry supporting the general interest of people in comics. How do people discover comics at that point?
And the other part of that too is that the ones that can maybe sustain themselves out, if the LCS dies, are Marvel and DC. Mostly Marvel, probably DC.
Right.
So then that pie, that slice for indie, becomes smaller and smaller and smaller.
If it exists.
If it exists, yeah.
Right.
So now even the niche interest of comic books is, I like superheroes.
That's a
So
good point.
that niche becomes even nicher. Where I hope you like zines and go into your local, I don't know, art show, because that might be the only place to really get it.
And those places are where where you can go to say
Sure.
that comics will never die. Certainly.
Not an industry though.
Right.
It ain't. It probably won't put food on your table.
That's the problem. That's the problem. This is not what we're facing right now is, to me, very scary. And we've only hit one prong of this. We're just talking IDW right now. I mean, Valiant as well. Valiant is having problems. Sorry?
Hey, they have been having problems.
Well, sure, but this is another brick in the wall. They were getting ready to do their big relaunch, the Valiant Beyond relaunch, and now those plans are at the very least postponed due to what is going on with Diamond right now. Luckily, what happened with Diamond found us in the best worst case scenario. We had already decided to publish fewer books during November, December, and January because we were working on relaunching the Valiant line with Valiant Beyond, which was scheduled for March of this year. We also have new licenses that we haven't announced yet. While the distributor owes us money, as we haven't received payments since December, I believe we'll be able to reorganize and move forward. Even though the money owed to us is essential for our operations, we're working to ensure it won't be critical. There's more to the quote. They go on. That is Matthias Tamarchi.
Where's he from?
He's the director of Alien Books, which I guess is.
Oh, that was Valiant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's scary. Valiant can't get out the fucking blocks, these people. First of all, they're always doing a relaunch. I feel like every time I read about Valiant, it's a relaunch. And now they can't even do their relaunch because they're owed money by Diamond.
And my understanding is a lot of companies are in that exact situation.
Oh, to the tune of about what did we say, $60 million? We
Something
said
like that. Yeah.
And they got a $41 million loan from the bank, from the bank.
Yep.
But that doesn't cover all of what they owe. And so this is a big problem.
So I'm so pumped. We put all of our faith into a monopoly in the 90s. Man.
Yeah.
A necessary evil.
Just all those really, really expensive eggs in one basket.
Price
Back then they were so expensive.
That's true, yeah.
And it's a shame for something like a Valiant that wants to be able to kickstart, that probably needs to kickstart via a good publishing line, a good arm, good press. And now it's, damn, can we put all those books out? Nope.
Man.
Any books out.
Yeah.
Now I'll never get my chance to join Valiant and start reading their comics. Damn it.
Man, Quantum and Woody, R.I.P.
Who?
Oh, Quantum and Woody. The original Valiant relaunch back in like the 2010s. Really good stuff in there. But
we'll never get to Exo Man of War.
Won't have round 2, I guess.
Damn it.
At least that movie came out.
Bloodshot with Vin Diesel?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got something.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Those Saudi investors got some ROI, I guess.
Mad Cave is moving to Lunar for their distribution.
Hmm.
They are leaving Diamond. That seems like a smart decision right now. They're a part of the Exodus. Massive, massive publishing, whatnot, massive. They are ending their exclusive deal with Diamond over this bankruptcy as well. And they are owed money. They are owed money from their Q4 of 2024. And these are not publishers that can afford to have money floating. I was surprised that they were surprised that they were owed money. In the quote we have from here from Massive, they talk about how they were surprised that they were owed money. I'm like, you don't get your money. How do you eat? How do
Yo,
you pay anybody?
who's on the books, bro? That's crazy.
For real. There's
Right?
a couple of spreadsheets missing here.
Yeah.
It's like me when I get my tax returns back. I owe what?
Not again.
Man.
And there were concerns about whether or not Lunar could take on certain publishers, or like volume. Volume would be a concern because then output would be potentially diminished, or the quality of that service would be affected. So I wonder, are they taking them on and taking that risk? And does that mean that, oh damn, my Mad Cave book's not going to come out on time, or it's not going to be in the shop, or it's going to then affect the quality of all of the other shipments. So now my Marvel books bent, my DC books or my Marvel books are whatever bent, or DC rather, I guess. Any other publisher that works under them, are they going to come in late or poor quality because they're doing too much to try to salvage some of these creators or some of these publishers?
Yeah, that they're gonna have to scramble to figure out how to accommodate some of this. And it's like, at what point do we reach unsustainability again?
For another company. Yeah.
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 Now, Boom, for their part, they're moving over to Penguin Random House, but it looks like, yeah, for they're moving over there for distribution. And that's great. I think they were already in the process of doing that as of July of last year. And so they are going to move forward with that. They're trying to accelerate that. That's great news for them. Um, and I think they're secured because they were already in the moment of transition. So they should be good at least.
Oh, Tilo says they were bought by Penguin.
That is true. So that's a whole other can of worms. But good for them in any event.
Yeah. It shakes out.
Divinity Comics says access and ease of creation is better than ever. Anyone can now create a book and get it out there. No longer is anyone subject to being gatekept by a corporation that can say no. In a word or in a phrase, yeah, they are. They still are. It's not like the industry of comics is dead. You can still be told no. The people can reject you. The people may not be able to find you. These are all things that have to be considered. It's not just as simple as, yay, Diamond Falls. Now we're in a free land. That's not the position that we are in. And a lot of people will suffer as a result of this. We're talking about the fall of Diamond, right? We're talking about real people with real jobs. We're talking about, in the case of IDW, we're talking about real people with real jobs, creators that need to eat and put food on their tables, editors, everybody, everybody. I'm never gonna get on here and celebrate people losing their jobs, people losing their livelihoods.
We had Heather Antos on the show, who's an editor at IDW for
Right.
the Star Trek line. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, somebody like Heather Antos, she'll land on her feet. She's extremely talented, a very well-known name in the industry. I'm sure that there are a lot of publishers, presumably that will exist after this, who would love to hire her. But that's her. What about all the other people that don't have a name, who are trying to work on building themselves up? These publishers existing allow people to get paychecks that aren't getting work from the big two.
Yeah.
Because they're redundant at the big two. They don't need them at the big two.
And if you extend that further, right? Let's say the IDWs go down, the booms go down, the dark horses, right? You're diversifying the pool of creators, but then you're also now introducing competition into that pool of creators. If I, as a new writer, have to stand up against a Tinian, or I have to stand up against a Tom King or a whomever else, I'm sure there are going to be breakout stars, but you're introducing a set group of creators who are already well known and had the visibility because of those bigger publishers. Now they're now they're entering a sphere where you would have wished, or ideally you would have hoped, they wouldn't necessarily be interacting with, because yeah, they did have the guaranteed paycheck writing, a Spider-Man, writing a Batman, etc. And becomes, I think, harder there to, you could have an audience, but is your audience insular? Is it your audience? How do you expand out beyond that? Now you have your set amount, and sure, maybe that works for you, maybe that's enough, but for some people that isn't. And so you need to be able to further service more people, a wider circle.
Yeah, in a world where the IDWs and the smaller indie publishers don't exist in terms of local comic shops and distribution and publishing and stuff like that, those slices for writers and artists become smaller too. Like, think about how many writers need to write multiple comics to kind of stay afloat. And then for artists, that's a friggin' global pool of people you're fighting against.
Yep.
And you're only maybe doing one book at a time, maybe some covers here and there. But then, like, those people who are doing covers, who doing cover art is is a way of how a lot of artists sustain themselves. If there's no LCS, there's no variants. So those covers don't exist anymore. So it becomes a dominoes situation that
Yeah.
can't be good for anyone involved.
And just to address divinity here, like, we're not talking about this being a popularity contest. Like, we're talking about this from the perspective of work, of jobs, payment, right? There are people in the industry that, with more publishers, with more diversification of books, with more offerings, that means there are more people working in the industry getting a paycheck, which allows for the success of other people's works and other people's books and them getting paychecks, irrespective of how it gets funded, or the success of that.
Marco, it's 2025. We can't say diverse or diversification. Come on.
My fault, my fault, my
Yeah,
fault,
come
my
on.
fault.
I want to read here now from an article that Rich Johnson wrote on the subject of um, what smaller publishers' options are now.
Shoo.
It's what
And thank you. So this is what Rich said. Diamond Comic Distributors does one extraordinary thing. It gives small press comic book publishers the opportunity to gain national, worldwide distribution for free across the direct market. And what Money Diamond took was a small fraction. Given processing costs on the smallest titles, they probably took a loss. The qualifications were ridiculously low on a commercial nature. I mean, they even distributed my own black and white small press comics back in the early 90s, which raised enough money to fly me from London to San Diego Comic Con several times. Looking back now, especially what I was then, it was, well, extraordinary. Even then, there were several distributors I was initially going through. Diamond brought in the biggest buck, even as they then bought up all their rivals. So the point of this article, and there's a lot more to it, is that small press, which is not, that doesn't include, small press doesn't mean, you know, Image, even IDW. They're not considered small press. Small press is smaller than that, like what, like Antarctic Press, or
no
you know,
brow.
yeah, like some of those really tiny publishers. They got their books on the same shelves as Black Panther, as Spider-Man, as Batman, because of Diamond. So what opportunities exist for them? Like, some people may not know this. In order for a distributor to carry your books, generally speaking, you have to be selling a certain amount of copies. You have to be willing to press up and ship out a certain amount of copies. And if you won't, they won't do business with you. So, how do you then get your books on shelves if there is no Diamond? Antarctic Press, for example. Here's Ben Dunn, um, who's of Antarctic Press. He said,
That's
with the
what I heard.
bankruptcy of Diamond Comics distribution, what exactly does this mean for comic stores? For now, it has been business as usual. Comic stores will continue to get their books, but this portends a shift in buying. Many comic stores are making the shift to being pop culture stores selling mostly toys, merchandise, cars, and etc. Despite what you may personally think of Diamond, it was the only distributor of small press. If they go, where will these publishers go? Imagine a world with no Bone, no Usagi, no Yojimbo, no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or no Ninja High School. If the direct market had not risen, then chances are none of these small press comics would have gotten into stores and found an audience. Yes, Diamond made some mistakes, and hopefully they will learn from them, or maybe it's too little too late. We shall see. Apparently, though, both Lunar and Penguin have shown little interest in Antarctic Press. There's a lot more to that. I would go on, but I won't. That's the reality.
Yeah, James says if DC, Marvel, and Image were smart, they would collectively buy Diamond and turn it into a distribution cooperative for all of the publishers to keep the industry going. For me, the issue there is basically Disney owns everything. Again.
Yeah, you're just shifting the monopoly. My issue is that I don't really care if they care about the industry continuing. As long as they continue, that's really what matters for those two. As like, I'm sure the people in the comics division care, but they're not who makes those calls.
Right.
That's one of those like pie in the sky, like, oh, I wish type of scenarios. And like that doesn't exist in reality. They won't it took 20 years for Marvel and DC to get a fucking comic book out to reprint DC versus Marvel because of how just difficult it is business to business. That's just the reality. They're not going to work together to keep Diamond afloat to help the little guy. They don't give a fuck about the little guy.
Yep.
Like it's just that's just not reality. And by the way, Lunar, no interest in small press. No reason to pick up small press. The options that exist now, these alternative distributors, are not options for small press. Penguin Random House doesn't give a damn about publishing Antarctic Press or Vault. They don't care about that.
It's probably not even fiscally sound for them. Like do they make enough money to distribute? Because again, Diamond was could potentially be swallowing some of that cost. They could take that loss as the monopoly. They had other things covering. Where now that you have that competition and that distribution of publishing, is that worth? I don't think Lunar, out of their goodwill, will take that risk to help prop up a potential small publisher. And so they have to decide, actually, this doesn't make sense for me. I'm not going to pick up Antarctic Press. I'm not going to be able to distribute a no-brow, however it is that they get their books out.
And you mentioned Vault Comics, Sean. I think it was last week. Vault's been kind of shifting their business strategy. They're publishing Japanese light novels going forward. Instead of comics. So,
Titan's doing a lot of that too.
Yeah.
And Titan for a long time has had their toes in toy and book licensing as well. For a lot longer than comics, but the comics is the guy that owns Titan's like passion project.
Yeah. Yeah, but like for Vault, like shifting over the actual product that you put out to appeal to probably bookstores, honestly. That's writing on the walls.
James says, well, then Image needs to lead the charge with that venture with smaller publishers if the big two don't care enough. Okay, James. I'm so glad you said that. You just gave us a learning opportunity because I see what's going on in the chat, and it's a shock how hard it is for some people to wrap their heads around this. But you bring up Image Comics. They should be the savior, right? Yay, Image. Well, here's what Image is doing while the industry is metaphorically burning. Image Comics, this is a headline from Bleeding Cool. Image Comics reduce discounts to comic book stores significantly.
Yep.
Significantly. So here's what Rich said here in this article. As Diamond comic distributors declare Chapter 11 bankruptcy and comic stores shift their Image Comics orders from Diamond to Lunar, they have no choice in the matter now. Lunar and Image are setting new discount levels and tiers for stores, and a number are really not happy about it. Lunar does say that Lunar will honor existing Image discounts through Diamond. To receive a matched Image discount through Lunar, please reply to this email providing your recent Diamond invoice verifying your Image discount. This must be provided by no later than 1/24/2025. At that point, that was 4 days away.
Damn. Yo.
And it's a dramatic shift in the way the tiers work and what you need to order to jump into this.
Master Bruce, some men just like to watch the world burn.
You have to order a lot more comics in order to receive the same discounts you were getting before. And what that means is that stores are probably not going to order more. They're going to charge you more.
This is how you felt when your LCS, Sean, changed their discount.
Yeah, I felt like shit.
but the having had access to Diamond allowed for those companies to be able, those publishers to be able to provide those discounts as well. And so now that means that anybody that probably gets swallowed up or who had received discounts to retailers, provided them to retailers, will also lose out on that. So that puts a further strain on the retailer, which puts a further strain on us, the consumer.
Exactly. So
fuck, dude.
Yeah, there's nothing good here. There's nothing to celebrate here. You know, people saying, "Oh, well, the model is outdated," and blah 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 blah. Okay, dude, if the model could be outdated, tell me why 90% of comic book readers read comics physically. Tell me why. It's not because Marvel and DC don't promote digital comics. They literally make digital exclusive comics. They put top creators on digital exclusive comics. There is a Jonathan Hickman Wolverine comic I have never read because it was Marvel Infinite and I didn't care.
Marvel's biggest video game that is being a cult phenomenon right now has digital comics.
In reference to Marvel Rivals,
Yep.
Yes, it has digital comics that are based on what's going on there. So you can't say that Marvel and DC don't care about making you purchase digital comics. You don't care about purchasing digital comics. And when I say you, I mean 90% of people who read comic books. Why? Why?
And that's a legit number too, Sean. You're saying 90% because only 10%. Like we have stats for that. That's not you just pulling a number out of your ass.
ICV2, all of them.
Why, when Napster and all those companies came around, did the music industry fall apart and the comic book industry hasn't budged with digital? Why? Because the physicality of comics matters to people. You cannot just simply say, oh, it doesn't matter that there is no more LCS. It doesn't matter that there's no more physical comics. People will continue to read comics anyway. The people who read the comics that the industry of comics produces are not like that.
And here's the thing. People are mentioning direct-to-consumer as an option. Yes, that could be an option without LCSs. But here's the issue. If the LCS is gone, comic collectors don't just get direct-to-consumer comics. A lot of them get, other comics as well. Their Spider-Mans, their Batmans. If they can't get those physically anymore, the hobby dies. And so does your direct-to-consumer. It definitely hurts it more than I think people realize.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And what's Antarctic Press going to charge me to send me one copy of whatever fucking book they have?
It's true. Yeah. Especially with gas prices going up, to be able to get that paper for the distributor that they have to make the comic. Like there's other things.
People
involved.
just say shit.
Yeah.
People just say shit. Like these are not like, you got to use your head. These solutions are not solutions.
Yeah, I know. I have friends who have made indie comics that they use Kickstarters for, and they've purposefully used U.S. Paper sources, like printers in the U.S., and it is more expensive.
Yeah.
They did that as a moral reason, and I respect that, but it costs more money to do.
Right.
And if that comes across the board, a niche comic collecting thing, which is a luxury for most people, becomes more and more niche.
I want to quickly shout out Izzy because he says they say because licking a screen isn't quite the same as getting a paper cut on your tongue. That made me laugh in reference to reading digital versus physical. Gotta have that. Gotta have that touch feel.
Yeah, the snozberries taste like snozberries. I get it, Izzy.
Oh man. This sucks, dude. This really sucks. I just don't want to see more stories like these. But it's like we're guaranteed to see them.
I want to see how this shakes out by like the middle of the year. You know, as we start to get big summer events, how does this affect costs? How does it affect the price of an event? The volume of books? You know, like where do we start feeling the impact and at what point? And um, it'll be interesting to see how certain publishers, whether they react all at the same time or if they react kind of in like waves.
Yeah, right. Like we've already heard from this is what? This is week 1 or week 2. I believe it's the tail end of week 1, or maybe it's 2 of
Week one.
Diamond's week 1, okay.
Yeah.
Of Diamond's bankruptcy process. And already we're hearing about shifts. What are we going to hear about in week 6, week 7? You know?
And Tommy
Funeral
Khan says,
costs.
uh, says what's ironic is that Diamond may survive Chapter 11, but the product they need for the long-term survival may not. I think they are going to survive Chapter 11. You know, it's restructuring debt, it's restructuring their assets. They got a loan now; they got to pay that loan instead of individual people. Fine, but I think the product itself that'll be affected a function of the paper shortage, the tariffs, the potential inflation that happens across the board as you get into the new this new economic reality.
uh Divinity Comics says people will just have to get used to the idea that the days of $5 to $6 comics are over. That's what happens when you work at McDonald's and want a raise every 6 months. Call it inflation. All right. So this is one of those cases where a person just shows themselves. I feel like now that you've said that, there's no reason to continue to have a conversation with you. So I won't be responding anymore. The other guys can do what they want. But I will say that if comics are going to cost more than $5 and $6, like what I'm about to say may be a revelation to you, and it may be crazy, right? But I'm going to say it anyway. If comics are going to cost more than $5 or $6, less people are going to buy comics. That won't hurt.
Hold on. We do a whole show where your whole thing is buying comics that are more than $5 and $6. You're telling me less people are going to do that?
Believe it or not, less people will buy them, and it won't hurt Marvel and DC that much because, as Cale said, right? But would I be willing to spend $5 and $6 for non-big two books? No, or excuse me, not 5 and 6, more than 5 and 6. No, I wouldn't.
And
I would not.
even a lot of big two books are.
The only thing drawing me to that is like a Hickman name, the
Right.
Hickman tax becomes standard.
I wouldn't spend $9.99 on Divinity Comics' comic, right? Like I wouldn't do that, right? So if I wouldn't do it, I'm sure there are a lot of other people who wouldn't do it. And that's a problem, right? That's a problem. It's a problem for Divinity Comics that I won't buy their $9.99 comic. I refuse to do it. It's hard out here.
Fiscally can't.
Right.
It
I
becomes
can't justify it.
there becomes the fiscal reality of certain of purchasing that affects people and to that end, like bringing your example further, then that means that the people who are in the indie space, wherever they may be, get affected because if I have to choose between, you know, my funny books that I've been reading on DC or Marvel for the past couple of years, and now I have to start to cull some of those because they're not, you know, they're not bringing me the same joy per
They're not
dollar
feeding you.
page. They're not feeding me.
I don't know
but
if you
they're
guys
also
tried eating a comic. It's not very nutritious.
the inks are just not the right flavor. But that affects other people outside of that. That means that other books, other indie creators are going to get affected because you have to make a choice between, well, I know for sure I'm liking, I don't know, Ultimate Spider-Man by Hickman, but should I shell out an extra X amount of dollars because I've had to call my budget for this stuff?
The nerdy entrepreneur says if you go to any con and artist alley, creators been selling their books for way more than $5. Of course they have. Of course they have. Why does Comic Con exist, dude? If there were no Marvel or DC, if there were no big two, if they didn't give a fuck about Marvel or about Comic Cons, if there were no LCS, if the industry of comics isn't around, right? If physical goes the way of the dodo, who is going to Comic Con to buy your $8 floppy? Who's going? If you can't get your comics signed by Donny Cates, you know, if Donny Cates isn't showing up to sign your books, you're not walking around and seeing Joe Schmo's comic that they're trying to sell you for $8. You don't even know it's there because you're not there.
Hell, who knows if you have enough money to even go to Comic-Con because all the other industries have become more expensive.
Right.
Tables at Thought Bubble for the weekend this year are 200, they were 200 pound.
Per day? For the weekend.
I think it's for the weekend.
Okay.
You know, that's not New York Comic Con prices.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
but,
sounds
like,
pretty good.
for an indie con,
Sure.
that's insane.
Yeah.
For some people, that's the money they make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For some people, that's not the money they make.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They're at a loss. Yep.
Most people, yeah.
And
I
just to clarify, for those of us who might not be familiar, like i.e. me, 200 pound is basically the equivalent of $200.
Yep.
No.
More or less.
No, it's
well,
more.
it's
like
It's
200
more now,
currency.
yeah.
200 currency. You whatever money you use, you have to pay 200 of it to get a table for the weekend.
So think about that. If you're charging, let's say you're charging $10 for your floppy, making $200 requires you to sell to 20 people. I think that's the math there.
Yeah.
If you can barely sell your book to 20 people at a con, that's a problem. But guess what? It's a reality for most of the people that are there because everybody's fighting for the attention. Because everybody's trying to clear that $200 and most of them won't. So how many people are going to operate at a loss? And that example that Cale is giving is in a functioning comic book industry. What happens when it ceases to function? What happens when the walls start to crumble?
Hope you like entertainment cons.
Yeah, that's what we're going to see more and more of.
A lot
Hope they
more
can get-
wizards.
I hope they can get Jeremy Renner to come charge people $400 for an autograph.
I've been waiting for an email from him. I'm trying to reset my login to his app.
Trying to get the app.
Yeah, but
Yeah, of course.
We have a whole bunch of you with us. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you guys showing up for these kinds of conversations. And we love being able to keep you guys up to date on what is happening in this industry that we love so much. We are not done, not with the show, not with this conversation, but I do want to take a quick opportunity to say thank you to some of our patrons, not all, but some. So stick around, hang out with us here. Special shout out to Pals vs. Legends, Thunderstruck Rebecca Alejandro, the Hound of Justice Atomic Hound, who is in the chat, Starcross Catherine Stars, the Red Spiral Spiral Storm, Adam and Bernie the Best Boy, the Spear of Judgment, Jace Jumble, Matthew Malice Price, And thank you to Pals vs. members, the Night Stalker Harris Sajinski, Brian Demolished Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dameron, Christian Uncaged, who was in the chat. Always laughing. The Spear of Justice, Izzy Spears, who was with us. Thank you for being here. The Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89, Robert Runback Cashaback, Pete the Dreamver Collins, James Just Jamming Jones, Paul Powerhouse Smith, Andrew the Galaxian Smith, Neon Knight the Cosmic Avenger, Matthew the Shade Cosmo, BJ Kicks, and the Living Blade Boss Deer. If you didn't hear your name, we will be calling you out a little bit later. Thank you guys for listening. Now, we know that next week, or rather this past week, there were some delays. I personally wasn't able to get any Image comics. Diamond announced that there would be delays for Marvel, Dark Horse, and IDW comics. The delays just keep coming. Publishers keep having to eat these costs. We already talked about how dangerous this is for IDW. This is scary, guys. This is scary. And you know what I learned this week? I learned that Diamond has been considering this option, bankruptcy, selling, for 3 months
Oof.
before they made the announcement.
See, I knew it because people were in conversations pretty quickly already post. I'm like, no, they must have known something.
Well, yeah, surely you consider that before you declare bankruptcy, right? Like, there's got to be a way out of this.
Well, but you inform your publishers because some of the publishers, like the
Sure.
week of the
Yeah.
announcement, were like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're signing contracts.
Well, they hired the firm of Raymond James Financial for $50,000 a year.
So there goes IDW.
When he was initially hired, when that firm was hired, it was to facilitate a sale or a merger, just to find money for Diamond if possible. But it was also on the table that there could be a bankruptcy, and in which case Raymond James would help facilitate that process. So Diamond already knew they were in a nightmare. And when they sold that warehouse, they knew that they were in a nightmare. They had to know that this was coming, and they just didn't say anything because they didn't want to sound the alarm bells. Well, now the alarm bells are going off, the house is on fire, and everybody's scrambling to figure out what the fuck to do next. Grab the dog, grab the cat, grab the PlayStation, get the fuck out.
I'd not even get to say the cat at this point.
the cat, the PlayStation over the cat.
Damn, can never be me.
Listen,
Welcome to Lieutenant Dan has no legs. Sorry about that, but he says I actually caught one of these lives. Welcome.
Hey, what's up,
sorry
Lieutenant
about my
Dan?
legs.
Yeah, that sucks, dude.
Sean, have you seen Forrest Gump?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
His life's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, I think watching
Never
Forrest
know.
Gump is like part of making sure you're a U.S. citizen, even if you're like naturalized
Yeah.
and stuff. Like it's just
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Americana. Yeah,
I was basically forced. It's a good movie.
by the government.
It's a good
I know.
movie.
Yeah,
They sat me down as a young black lad and say,
watch this Tom Hanks movie.
listen, watch this all-white movie and like it. He's a treasure, a national treasure.
You'll understand why we did what we did.
Shout out to Mr. Funiverse. Hey pals, last stream, so this past Thursday for Pals Pulls, 6 p.m. every Thursday. It's EST. Said last stream you convinced me to give the new TMNT run a go, having never read one. Loved it. Read all 6. Look forward to what's next. Let's
Wow.
go.
Hell
Doing
yeah,
the
dude.
Lord's work out here.
Love it. And now IDW owes us. for that.
There it is. Hey, that's a confirmed conversion. What is that? Hold on a second. 6 times what?
The first issue was like $4.99, I think. I don't know.
I think they're all 49, right?
Yeah, they might.
They're
be.
declaring bankruptcy, so they ain't lowering those
I'll
prices.
go. I'll DM Greg right now. It's fine.
Yeah, Greg. Hey, Greg, $30. All right. Thank you.
Pay up. Yeah, so I really think that what we have to hope for is that Diamond survives this. My hope is that Diamond survives this. And I hope that obviously I hope that they get better, that they improve as a company, that they can learn from their mistakes. I don't know how Diamond stays afloat in the longest term without Marvel and DC. I think that that was always going to be a problem. And like I said the last time, we're not having this conversation if they still have Marvel and DC. We're having different conversations, but we're not having this conversation about the collapse of Diamond.
Losing Marvel and DC was the first crack in the fish tank, and they've been losing water ever since. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it's possible for a stronger Diamond to emerge out of this. It's possible for a stronger industry of comics to emerge out of this, but it's going to be hard times. And what's fucked up is that it's going to be harder times than COVID.
What makes me wonder is if Diamond survives, they can't operate the same way that they did. And that will mean kind of circling back to that conversation about Image, like they're gonna have to change or get rid of that whole discount structure altogether. Like they owe too many publishers too much. And they're just like they're not gonna be able to operate in that same way. So what is that gonna mean for stores and even smaller publishers?
Well, they have to change their business model. They were operating on an expectation of losses in some cases the based on granting ability to certain publishers, to certain retailers. So that they will come back. I think 100%, right? The whole function of a bankruptcy is to restructure their debt, which they have a lot of. They have a loan, and then they have like some $20 million that they have to pay that potentially they're going to get another loan for. If that's the case, one problem solved, the next becomes fixing the business structure so that way they can get back to catering, doing business, catering and servicing the retailers and publishers that they have on their end, and um, they're going to have to rethink the way that they work, because that probably going to mean increasing costs, increasing the uh, so to some degree the level of service, because now they have that competition, but that's going to be costly, so it's going to be a balancing act.
Man, um I'm choosing to be hopeful. I'm choosing to be hopeful.
You have to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's either that, or we go to only two distribution, Lunar and Diamond, or rather Lunar and
Penguin.
Penguin. And
Yeah.
then who's the one that's doing Canada?
I don't recall.
Was it Lunar was two companies? It
Yeah,
was
Lunar
Lunar
is
and
also DCBS.
that's
Yeah.
what it was, DCBS, yeah.
Well,
And they split the country in half or something.
at any rate, being able to just leave it to those two means that renegotiation with all these other smaller publishers that might likely, just based off costs because of how they were doing things, can't afford, and we lose those in the industry. They go elsewhere. They will continue to exist, but they won't be in the direct market.
And what does that mean, man?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like in gosh, 50, yeah, 50 years. In the last 50 years of comics publishing, we have had a direct market. And we have built the entire industry around the idea of a direct market. And I want to talk about this at length. Now's not the right time, but the right time is coming. Um, the direct market saved comics. I have no doubt in my mind about that. The direct market saved the industry.
And now it's killing it.
I hold space. I hold space for that possibility, for sure. But if you go away from that and you go back to a model or go to a different model where, you know, there is no LCS, there is no direct market. If you shift from that, how do we keep this thing going? How do we find it anymore? How does a young
Yeah.
Cale or a young Tyler or a young Sean, Marco would have found it because he's like literally connected to the internet in his brain.
I was gonna
Like,
saying young Marco is redundant.
that's also true.
Yeah.
How do we find this? Like, how do we get to this place?
The only thing that sounds like roughly familiar is like the record industry.
Yeah.
Record shops died.
Yeah.
And they came back because because people had some money and it became a niche thing that became popular. It could be like a phoenix rising from the ashes thing where then LCSs die. Then, you know, comic books becomes like a thing that you get physically, you know, that you have to actually search out for, and that just gains traction through the popularity and it comes back. But that's a big what if.
And also, that's sort of what they did.
Sure.
Like,
And also records came back because the fucking the music industry kind of pushed it too, because they realized people were like into collecting things again. So yeah, it's hard to know what becomes of it.
But I think the difference there is that in the case of vinyl, that was that transformed into CDs, into tapes, into, you know, other other consumption methods, whereas comics have not changed the consumption method. The floppy is still 20 pages to, you know, 48 pages depending on the book published, and so because that hasn't changed in my mind, then I don't think that it goes away, because to your point, if vinyls came back, then that to me translates to comics persist, comics remain.
And Nerdy Entrepreneur makes a decent point here with saying it's the further rise of graphic novels.
Maybe I think
There's your shift that you were mentioning.
it becomes yeah, it
a
becomes a
shifted
shift,
format. Yeah.
right?
Vinyl to CD to tape.
Yeah.
That's something.
Would you move from CD to vinyl, Sean?
Um, I know, because then I would need a vinyl player, you know, like,
They're called gramophones, Sean.
oh,
Get
I would
with
need a
it.
gramophone. Like, is that the answer you were looking for?
uh I guess I'm curious, just if you consume media, if you consume music in CD format, does
Yeah.
that mean that there's flexibility to shift the way that you access that media, not digitally, but like in a physical space? So like, will that translate to the floppy to the trade?
I see what you're asking me. No, that doesn't that in it, there to me that's not one to one. Like, I don't view the floppy as the single and the graphic novel or trade as the album. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I don't look at it that way. Uh to me, there is an experience that I am having reading an individual floppy that is completely separate from any other way that I read comics. And that is the experience that I want to have, and I want to have it every week.
It's a bit more like listening to the radio.
Yes. But with the added factor of it being a ritualistic experience.
Yeah.
The reason why I brought up Napster and all that earlier is because there was no resistance to the transition of of experience of music. It didn't matter to people that the CD went away. It didn't matter that now you could get your music digitally. Nobody resisted that. Everybody was like, oh, there's an easier way for me to listen to music. I don't have to go to the store and grab a CD. Sounds good. Sign me up, especially because people were stealing it anyway.
Well, and the outcome of what you're getting is the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're still getting the music.
Right. Gage says something here interesting. Interesting because the floppy is a low risk, decently affordable option, whereas the trade is a bigger commitment, more money, but has a synopsis to help consider. I think we're getting to the point where I'll put it this way: we just had a book, and it is a one shot. It is a special. Lex in the City, $10. I can buy an image trade for that. We're getting to the point where the efficiencies found in cost and production are at the level of the trade, not at the level of the floppy. And so where you get a 5.99 single issue, you go and get a 5 issue graphic novel. That is the efficiency in production that allows the comics to continue beyond the floppy. So I think in my mind the reverse is true. The the trade is the bigger commitment, but the more affordable option,
Yeah.
as opposed to the floppy being a higher risk, relatively affordable option.
And not to mention with trades and ditching floppies, then urgency isn't the same. I'll just pick up a trade whenever. Who knows when the price will go down? I don't need to buy it as soon as it comes out because I'm not reading serialized anymore. I'm reading in chunks, unless I'm getting volume 1, volume 2. But then the release schedule between those is so wide that I can wait for things to go down in price.
Also, you have to consider the fact that trades are high risk for the publisher.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
Because you are essentially, when you're publishing floppies, you're saying, okay, let's do Laura Kinney X Wolverine, right? The book that's currently on the stands right now. Is that book gonna sell like hotcakes in the floppy market? No, it's not. It's gonna do decently, and that'll be fine.
It's gonna do enough. Yeah.
Right. To justify its existence. That
Maybe.
character will get another shot down the road. If the publisher is happy with the product, Erica Schultz and whoever's on art will get shots down the road. And the reality in which trades are the way that comics are exclusively published by the big two, that book doesn't happen. That book doesn't happen. They have to pay upfront for all the issues that they produce, pay for the creative team, pay for the publication of it, etc., without ever having made a dollar off the floppies. So now it becomes total risk for them. And they have to sell as a trade. They're never going to give those kinds of books a chance.
And not to mention marketing around that completely changes.
Yeah.
Because if they are in a graphic novel format, they're probably going to be looking at big bookstores to sell. Because if floppies don't exist, then LCSs probably don't either.
Right.
LCSs can't really afford to just be mini Barnes and Nobles. Not going to happen. Or if it does, it's very minimized and select. Or maybe even like you pre-order or you order in. So they might actually have to start marketing, because LCSs market themselves. They market the books. DC finally decided that marketing might be a thing they want to do. So, the compact comics, which actually is doing great for them.
They've stuck to the compact comics, but the marketing part's still sort of up in the air.
Well, I'm really curious to see what happens when Superman comes out, but we got a couple months for that.
And I think Sean brings up a good point on how it's a loss for the business. It's more risk involved, but I think we're getting to a point where that cross section between do I risk a trade versus risk the floppy, and it doesn't meet production or like a requisite production number, those become equivalent. The number of books that I might potentially have to sell in order to risk a single issue, like a number 1 or number 2, as opposed to a collected trade, from a cost perspective, become equivalent.
No way, dude. I'll tell you why. Because the first issue of a comic is what will sell the most. They're making the bulk of their money. If it's a 5-issue run, for example, they're making the bulk of the money they're going to make off that 5-issue run in the first issue. There is no way to translate that idea into trade, on top of the fact that variant covers exist. And now you cannot make money off of variants. I guess you could have a trade dress variant, but that's silly. So you're losing out on double dippers. You're losing out on high cost variants. You're losing out on the issue 1 sale. There's no way to replicate that money loss.
Also lose out on speculators, which is still a thing
Yeah,
in the market.
they leave.
Yeah.
But I guess, but my point is, when you take that plus the 2 plus the 3 plus the 4 plus the 5, do we get to a point where that sum total becomes the equivalent to the trade?
Are you
that
saying
is the
that
thing.
in a world where it's just graphic novels, does the same kind of pattern then arise when there's no single issues?
No, what I'm saying is, let's say you make all that money up front, right? It is X dollar amount, and it
From like
costs
a number
X dollar
one
amount.
volume.
Right. Sorry, a number one floppy.
Okay.
Issue number one of a 5 issue mini. You sell, X amount of that, and that for the cost that you sell that at and the cost you produce it at. Let's say you make out, you invested 100K, you come out with 50K, right? We start to see that drop. Let's say that brings you up to 75K, right? uh, does that at some point from a production standpoint, because you can get more efficient at larger scale with a trade, get to a point where I'm risking 75K by doing single issues, and I'm risking 75K by doing the trade.
So you're saying, do the efficiency that graphic novels have in terms of production, does that offset the risk involved?
Does that then equate the risk in either
equate.
because floppies are going to get more expensive, because the production end is going to get more expensive, because things are going to get more expensive for the individual floppy? We know that we can gain efficiencies.
You know what I say? Numbers too big at this point, Marco, make a spreadsheet.
I got lost.
Even if you could say that there was an equivalence in risk, there's not an equivalence in reward. The reward changes.
One thing that hasn't been considered here, at least in this conversation, is how this affects creators and how that this pay issue overall affects creators. If they're talking making trades, how much is an artist gonna cost to make an entire book, versus just the discussion of them, of Marvel or whoever just putting the book out.
Right. Go ahead.
That's all.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
a great point.
They're going to have to pay upfront costs for creators. Page rates aren't going to stay the same. They're going to go down again.
Yeah.
I truly do not believe that the trade only option is a realistic option. I don't think that is viable. I think that alienates too many of the people who buy comics. Like, take me out of the equation. I just don't think you can have a solution to the problems that alienate the people who want to speculate, who want to buy variants, who buy issue ones. Those people are a vital aspect of what we do and what we love. And any idea that alienates those people is one that's going to lead to losses financially.
And I think just to highlight that, both Tilo and Steve mentioned here. Tilo first says, for people who want to emulate the French market, and that's kind of where my mind is at. The majority of French artists still make minimum wage and would not make it without the French safety net, to which here in American comics we don't have that. And that tied into Steve Canaris's point here. 70 to 80% of books prose don't make back their advance, and those advances are shrinking. Comics economics are worse. So that's a fair point. Do you put up that advance knowing you might not make that advance back, and from a creator standpoint, don't have a safety net to fall back on should you not either produce an adequate number or an adequate volume of sales?
Immortal Hulk struck gold in its, I want to say it was its second arc. That was where the hype came out. In a world where there are trades only, does it get a second trade?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to read Hound's $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Just to back that point up, Sean. When trades started in the 80s, they were not the value proposition. This was in part to protect the single issue market. Publishers slowly figured out the new single issue buyer is price insensitive and have exploited it since.
That's crazy. I love that phrasing. Price insensitive. Make that, you know what? More $10 Lexinicities. Put that
That's-
Hickman tax on. Get that red band out there.
That's
we
the
should
nice
make a
way.
shirt.
Yeah.
We should make a shirt that says price insensitive.
I love that. That's so good.
That's a nice way of just saying suckers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A price insensitive. A comic book reader.
Thanks a lot, Hound. Yeah, man. I truly think that, you know, a lot of people don't understand the financial realities of comics. They don't understand that most of the people that you read books from have other jobs that they do. They have other work. They can't survive just off of the comics that they produce. It's a moment in a creator's life when they can finally quit their day job. Many of them are not able to do that in the first 10 years, 15, in some cases 20 years of their careers. Who was it that just stopped? Was it Jim Zub? I don't remember who it was, but there was a creator who had just stopped teaching, just stopped and focusing exclusively on comics. And when I saw that, I was like, wait, I've been reading comics by you since I started reading comic books. What the fuck? And that is a reality. We had Kelly Thompson on, and she's talked about the financial realities. And you know, when she was before she started Absolute Wonder Woman, she talked about how she was thinking about leaving the industry because she financially it just wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
This is what we're facing. Kelly Thompson writes Absolute Wonder Woman for DC, one of the biggest best-selling titles of 2024, and she was thinking about leaving the industry because the money wasn't there. What's Timmy on Kickstarter doing? You know?
Yo, Timmy's making bands, bro. I just checked out his Kickstarter page.
He's making that those big titty comics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Timmy comics.
Uncaged says, have you been to a movie theater or a stadium? Price insensitive. I know it's ridiculous. Dude, you're not telling a lie.
God, we have to make that shirt. Marco, make that shirt.
Give me a second.
Is there a way to make
Thank you,
an IBS joke here? Should we make it look like lactaid?
Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
Oh man. I would love to talk solutions, but it's like I don't.
It's also like solutions are like advanced economics, right? Like this is worse than like a calculus problem.
I love calculus.
Nerd. Like we can evaluate. By the way, Cale, Marco said the other day that he's not a nerd.
Stop.
Bro. Okay, well this touches on an interesting point that I've had for a long time. Are we as a collective comic book fans, are we nerds or geeks?
I'll accept anything, dude. I don't give a fuck what someone calls me. I'm mid.
I think it's a geek thing. I think
See,
nerd. I always was like Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, oh yeah, that's true. They like comic books too. I don't watch the show. But if you're like math, science, you know, the sciences, nerd.
Yeah.
Pop culture, geek.
I agree with that.
Man, see,
That's the distinction.
I hate the term geek. But yeah, no, Marco is that. Whatever that is, that's yeah. If that's nerd, then yeah, Marco is absolutely a disgusting nerd.
I'd offer Marco's a dweeb.
I'm a cross between the both.
The only, to be honest, the only thing that really saves Marco and gives him like a scoop of cool is his love for music, and that's like
liking jazz will make you cool in any regard.
He's been edging out of that, so like,
oh, he been edging.
Hey, yo,
Marco has done a lot more cool shit than I have. I'll tell you that much.
oh,
so
sure.
We're bashing on Marco, but arguably the coolest of the four of us.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I mean, certainly cooler than me. I don't go to fucking. If I wouldn't go to a jazz club, but if I did, I wouldn't have a good time.
oh damn, dude,
Well,
nice little whiskey, cigar.
I don't smoke cigars.
Damn. All right.
Have
Well.
asthma. Yeah.
Oh, true.
But I've seen a waterfall. That's pretty cool, right? Like,
I've climbed a waterfall.
That's cool.
yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Who here has done a backflip?
I don't think Marco.
I've fallen on my back.
Okay, almost there.
So is Cale.
To be fair, I fell on my neck, and that's why I can't do a backflip.
Oh.
I for anybody who is on the Discord, in the new episode chat, I put up a price insensitive shirt that I will be designing later for
Did
the
you
merch
really
store.
just make one while we're on the show?
I did. It will come in a variety of colors, including our staple blue and red.
Nathan Bjomstad says, I agree with Cale. Solutions are advanced economics. To me, the key would be to figure out a way to drive down the per unit cost by printing more and more of them so that the fixed cost can be spread. If I understand that, you're suggesting that if they print more, we can drive the prices down.
Right.
The problem, so if I had to guess, the fact that we have an industry that's built around variant covers and forcing stores to order X amount of books to get one copy of an incentive variant increases the print amount, the print run of a given book. That would help drive down price because you're printing more volume to get these variants. The problem is, I don't think that we can print more than we are at the moment because then copies are just going to sit in warehouses or store shelves or dollar bins. And stores pay those costs up front. And then we presumably buy the books. But if we don't, they take the loss. So I don't think simply printing more books that will go unsold will solve the problem. The thing that solves the problem of comics is more people buying comics.
I was gonna say a nuke.
What?
Just nuke it all.
To
Solves
be
all
honest,
problems.
that solves several problems.
Yeah.
I think I think that's where you get into like efficiencies of scale, and that I think boils down to just more volume. You need more people in the pool to get to that point, but right now, a good book run, a good comic run, is like what 50K, for like an issue, maybe 40, and like wow, hey, that's a decent ass book.
You're at risk. Sorry, go ahead.
And that's historically like crazy low.
Right. Like that's not a great number if we talk about 20 years ago, 30 years ago. If you're at risk of cancellation now, if you're in the realm of like 12K at the big two, you're probably getting canceled if you're in that space. 12K. That's a fucking low number, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. My supervisor's in. Supervisory AI has joined the chat and says, "Finally caught a live episode. You guys are such a blast to listen to during the overnight hustle, and I started going to my local shops to collect comics. I even got a short box. Hey man, I love it. I knew like those days in the office would be helpful, so I figured I'd come in, say what's up, introduce you to some things."
I'm picturing one of those like iPads on a Segway going to a local comic shop.
in a tie.
Yeah, it just has Marco's face on it, but it's like in the same CG that Reboot the cartoon was in.
Yeah. Toast hanging out of his mouth while he runs to work.
Just max headroom. Yeah.
Can I also say, Supervisory says, you guys are such a blast to listen to during the overnight hustle. What the fuck is the overnight hustle? Are you selling drugs? Like what does that
That's what
mean?
I do. That's what I do when I record them.
Anytime anyone says they're in an overnight job where they can listen to us, I assume they work at a nuclear launch facility, and like they just are holding on to the key, and like that's all they do. They just wait.
We have
That's pretty cool.
such a different interpretation. I'm like, he's probably like a truck driver or something.
Or that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Works in a factory.
Yeah.
Or he sells drugs. Guys.
Or he does. That's for sure.
You
He's
can
walking
sell drugs
around-
during the day, Sean.
What?
You can sell drugs in daylight.
Yeah, but overnight hustle. You know?
That's Amazon, the way I use my Prime.
Same day deliveries.
Hey,
Overnight hustle.
Thanks to Revolutionary Dragon for the $5. Hey pals, what are y'all's thoughts on the reaction to X-Men number 10 if y'all read it? I didn't read X-Men number 10.
Was there a reaction? Did something happen?
The cover was cool.
The cover was really cool, especially the way the X-Men logo was underneath Cyclops' optic
Yeah.
beam. I haven't gotten to it yet. Alphabetical. You know how I do.
I haven't read it. I am notoriously off that train, the Jen McKay X-Men train. So I don't know what happened. Yeah, sorry, can't react to that. But if you let us know, I can tell you it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. Kevin, was it Kevin? Yeah, Kevin. Why do we have to cater to the masses? Why not just focus on the high-level clients and allow Harry Crumb to draw your life? I would never know who Phil was without American Spectre. He works. Does anybody know what that means?
American Splendor.
Splendor?
American Splendor is okay. So okay. I think
Translate.
so. Harry Crumb is Robert Crumb. Harvey. No,
This is old classic comic books. Okay, yeah.
Yes, Harvey Picard.
Yeah.
Did a book called American Splendor that was basically a chronicle of his life, and it was sort of autobio strips, and it's one of the most famous autobio comics. And they made a movie about it with Paul Giamatti as Harvey Picard. It is fine, but the it's that same conversation as we were having earlier. Is that autobio market is the medium of comics. It's not the industry of comics. So Kevin follows up and says, thank you. My memory isn't the best, but what's wrong with comics based on what you're up to day to day, like a daily briefing report? Absolutely nothing. But most people don't feel that way. Like, that's not something Sean's going to read.
Although that has been American Splendor has been a book that I've wanted to read, just like archaeologically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's good.
That, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is why Cale is here.
That's it.
What, do you have a degree in this?
I read that and I saw gobbledygook. Cale was somehow able to dissect that. Thank you, Cale. All right. This conversation is one that is going to have to be ongoing, unfortunately, because we don't know what the immediate future is. I think there's a lot of reason to have fear. There's a lot of reason to have concern, but I also think there's reason to have hope. Human beings are great at discovering solutions to problems. And the comic book industry has a lot of those problems, but I also think it has a lot of people in it who are passionate, who are committed, who really care. I make the assumption that pretty much everybody working in comics would like to see things get better.
Yep.
So based on that, I have reason to believe that collectively, even if they're not working together, that their minds working on the same problem, someone will discover a solution that the answer to which isn't just we need more people buying comics. Because my brain comes to that conclusion, but I'm not in the weeds. I'm not in the trenches the way they are. So that's my hope, that we can discover a solution, that Diamond will be okay, and that, things will be all right. And we will still be here 5 years from now complaining about the same shit that people have been complaining about for the last 50 years.
5 years. I mean, the rate this is going, we'll have another Diamond episode next week.
You might be right.
Week 2 of the Diamond Saga.
I have to figure out the next thumbnail. Jeez, I might as well just pre-make it.
And again, really to drive this point home, we're concerned here about the industry. We love comics. We're here to celebrate comics. The medium of comics is something we will always champion. We're concerned about going to the comic shop and being able to buy comics.
Yes, coming from 3 out of 4 people who read digitally.
The occasional physical purchase.
I do buy books. Like
we're
collected
worried
editions.
about Sean being able to keep this podcast going by going in to his store and buying comics.
Okay, let's go further. We're worried about our podcast and a good bit that we do on Thursdays. Okay.
Atomic Allen says Diamond Deep Dive coming to the PALs in 2028. I don't think you're gonna have to wait that long for what you're talking about.
Diamond Deep Dive is going to be an obituary.
I think we're doing it now, by the way.
We still never had an obituary for Some C. Oh well.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet. And Some C will continue. Of that I am sure, and I do wish that was a part of our annual guessing game because I will never say that they will be done.
It's gonna be at this point. This year's for 2026 is gonna be. Do physical comics go away this year?
Hey,
is the LCS dead?
There are people who've been playing that game for 40 years saying yes, and one day they're going to be right.
Right. Yeah.
As I told you, I've been saying it for years.
It's that meme of the guy with the axe, the pickaxe mining, and the diamonds are just there if he keeps going.
Yeah.
Oh man, we've got more show coming your way. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We've got over 110 of you with us, and now joined by Dan Trudeau.
Hey, there he is.
Wow.
Unreal.
Could have used some truth earlier on. Jeez.
For real. Would have dropped that fella on the ground. I don't know where that sentence was going.
Real quick, James says the problem is the unsustainable model. Okay, James. What is the sustainable model? What is it?
I'd argue capitalism is unsustainable.
Yeah, again, it's this advanced economics, right? Like there are so many variables. The sustainable model is like, I don't know, the old Will Eisner chain gang comic book factories. And you better hope they come out at 30 cents a pop.
Ooh, yeah, dude.
Like,
that's not a good thing.
Like, why is it so hard to believe that an industry focused primarily on print, primarily on superheroes, why is it so hard to believe that would be struggling? Like, just on the merits of what it is.
When publishing itself is struggling.
Exactly. I'm not saying there aren't problems with the model. I know there are problems with the model. We've just talked for 2 hours about the problems with the model. But at some point, you do have to look and be realistic and say, hey, maybe there isn't real growth here in the industry of comics. Maybe this is what it is. That's a decision that you might have to be able to accept. And that there's not blame to go around for the fact that, people don't want to buy physical shit anymore. And they don't want to read something that comes from an industry that's based around a weekly engagement. It's niche. There are problems in niche industries. They're tough to keep up.
On top of it being a difficult industry, it is niche.
You could buy, pick your band, pick your artist, it doesn't matter. Let's say Kendrick Lamar. You could buy Kendrick Lamar's most recent album on vinyl, and it would probably cost you what, like $40?
Something like that.
Yeah. And you would have to have a gramophone, I think you guys called it.
I was joking.
It's a record player.
A record player.
Gramophone's like literally like the old-timey big
It's
horn
got the big
thing.
horn for the speaker.
Yeah. So
Right,
I guess a
okay.
gramophone. Yeah, let's just call it that.
You would have to have a gramophone to be able to play it. So there's upfront cost to play the damn thing, and then you got to spend $40 to get it, right? Or you could listen to it for free. Legally.
Yeah, just suffer an ad. Damn, imagine that disruption of an album though. Listening through Kendrick, Pimp to Pimp a Butterfly, all of a sudden right after All Right,
Blue Chew.
here are the prices of yeah.
But hopefully you understand the point that I am making. Music is not niche. Music is one of the top 2 most popular art forms on the planet Earth. Listening to music on vinyl is niche. There's a massive difference. You can do one of those things for free or at an extremely low cost. The other you have to pay a lot to do.
And you're assuming the people who are buying vinyl are even listening to it.
Sure.
Most people don't. I know people who collect the vinyls just to collect them. They don't have a record player.
Sure. But the point that I am making is that it is an extremely niche market that is not mass market. And it accepts what it is. Because there is an alternative that is so ridiculously cheap that it keeps music alive for the billions of people who consume it. The equivalent for comics does not exist. And a lot of that has to do with the amount of people that read comics. And until somebody has a solution to present to me that doesn't just involve increasing the amount of people reading comics, I don't want to hear it.
Quickly to address Matt Fisher, $1.99. Thank you so much. Marco, Ornette Coleman in all caps, Davis or Coltrane? I'm assuming you're a Coleman fan. I gotta say Coltrane. The early stuff is great. I think like right before he starts to lean into a bit more of that free space, I think is where he does some of his best work. My favorite thing is probably my favorite album. So there it is.
And that was Marco's Jazz Minute.
Also, I'm trying to find. Kevin says, "What about a concept album that comes with a comic book or vice versa?" Years ago
They did that.
they have those.
That's how Dazzler started.
Wait, who was?
Marvel put out a record for Dazzler's music that was like superhero themed, and then the character was introduced.
No way.
Yeah, this is how Dazzler started. There was a Spider-Man album before. There was a Spider-Man live show that Stan Lee was at. Man, Marvel in the 70s was wild, man.
Oh, okay. I guess we're talking about this now.
Exactly. Heatron says, music has the same problem as comics. The creatives can't make a living unless you're at the apex of popularity. So are either industries really working? In a word, no. The creative space is struggling in an increasingly capitalist and industrial world. The more that business overtakes these industries, the more that making money is the primary concern, the more we are going to see these problems. People want things for cheaper. They want them faster. They want them better. We see what people are willing to do to get it. We have AI comics. We have AI art. People don't give a fuck about the arts, and we're seeing it. The music industry had to come up with Spotify and come up with fucking Launch and come up with Apple Music and all these things to circumvent the fact that at mass, people were stealing music, dude. They didn't care about the artists.
Sound a lot like Lars Ulrich right now, Sean.
God, Lars Ulrich.
Drummer
Where's
from
Lars?
Metallica.
Drummer,
Of
Metallica.
Metallica.
Yeah, thank you.
Really, it was like the big anti-Napster guy. Yeah.
And it makes sense to be that way. it makes sense to be anti-Napster. It makes sense to be anti-piracy because piracy hurts creators. Like Marvel isn't suffering piracy, but creators are.
And then just to address music and comics, King Taichi brings up a good point. Moon Man by Kyle Higgins and Kid Cudi were a great concept album and comic based on the Man on the Moon album series. I also wanted to shout out, I was trying to find them, but Those Shadow People, there was an EP 2016 that put out called Light Siphon, which I highly recommend you read alongside the music. It's really cool action sequences that you start the book at certain places and then you continue reading from there as the tracks play.
Marco is doing his own podcast at this point. Like he's
I'm
doing
just
a
addressing- I'm
completely
addressing the
different show
chat.
than what we're doing.
Just addressing the chat.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna leave it there. Support what you love, man. Buy comics. Comics are good. One could say comics are dope.
Hey, let's go.
Oh, that's gimmick infringement.
That's true. That's why we're not gonna put that on a shirt.
Can't.
No, indeed.
Our show is mostly like comics for dopes.
That's the shirt for Hound, is what that is.
Why? Why? You say he's a dope?
I'm saying we all are.
Old timey slang. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't want to be a dope.
Quit buying comics.
I can't. I'm a dope.
It sounds like it is dope for you, Sean, the way you can't quit it.
It is, dude. Are you kidding me, bro?
Hit it and don't quit it.
All right. Let's keep this train a rolling. We've got a lot more stuff to dive into and talk about. Again, thank you guys for partaking and participating in these kinds of conversations. It's really important that we that we know what's happening in this industry that we love so much. Now on the docket, we've got top 5 Captain America moments. And the reason why we have that on the docket is because this is Captain America month. And the book club is going to be Captain America focused. We have nomination threads up right now where we're hoping that you guys will share with us the Captain America book that you most want us to read for the book club this month. And we've already got a bunch of options. I don't know a lot about the publishing history of Captain America prior to Ed Brubaker and Epting and everybody else. So there's an opportunity for me to learn, although I think we all know what's going to win, right?
If you look through even just the YouTube comments on that post, there is a name that comes up the most.
Yeah.
A specific volume, too, if you notice that.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we're probably going to end up reading Brubaker's Cap, but you guys can influence that. Hit the nomination threads. They're up on youtube.com/thecomicspals. They're up on patreon.com/thecomicspals, up on our Discord, and you guys can let us know what you would like us to read. Now, are you guys ready with the top 5, or do you want a week?
We don't need to do all top 5 right now. What do we just do?
No,
5?
do you have?
I have one.
Okay.
I could come up with one.
Yeah.
I'd have to work for more, but I could come up with one.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Marco, why don't you kick us off?
Number 5 on my Captain America list is an interaction between Tony Stark, Ant-Man, and the Cap himself, where at one point, traveling to the past, it is seen that Tony says the suit has done nothing for his ass, and Ant-Man says, as far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass.
Oh, you went
Top
for
number 5. That is America's ass.
There was a point of time in this show where if Marco had said that, Phil would have roasted his ass so hard. I miss those days sometimes.
Bring back bullying.
Honestly.
That's it. Bring back bullying.
I agree. I agree. I miss that energy on the show.
Comic book nerds asking for bullying to come back. The calls
Who are
coming
they
from
without
inside
it?
the house.
Incredible.
It's a lost art. The bully.
Yeah. I can go my number 5.
Yeah.
So my list is based on my history of reading Captain America from when I started reading comics. So number 5, it's going to be when Bucky Cap finally reunites with the Trinity in Secret Invasion. So in Secret Invasion, Skrulls take over. Some people don't like the event. I actually love it. And at the time, the Avengers were kind of just like, it was like the new Avengers was the real big thing. Mighty Avengers was its own thing, but the idea of Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man together was an impossibility. Too much damage between those three. I mean, Thor was dead. Cap is dead. Iron Man is an ass. So seeing, even though it was Bucky Cap at the time, but seeing Bucky Cap, Thor, and Iron Man kind of get together as a new reader at the time was like, whoa, I'm finally getting to read this, sorta. And I thought that was really good. And then the way Lanil Yu drew Bucky Cap was just so damn good. I love that costume. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, I think my number 5 has got to be, I mean, we can't say it's the worst, but if I'm like ranking it like best to worst, this definitely falls there. I can't believe it's not y'all's number 5, which says a lot about you guys. It's when Captain America dies.
I mean, that is bad for him. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's bad for everybody. There's a whole series about it.
Not for local comic shops.
That's probably true. That moment in time, I was maybe my peak comic book reading. You know, that's a massive part of the Brubaker run, and I just like a lot of people might know this, might not know this. My birthday is the 4th of July, and I would never make this connection, but a lot of people in my life align me with Captain America because of that. And it was weird to have this moment of like, I'm standing in a comic book shop and the man that sort of represents me on a page that isn't Peter B. Parker is dead. Like it was weird. And like it was this weird sense of like, it must have felt like what Superman dying felt like, this death of an icon following so much history and so much turmoil. Even in the years that I'd been reading, you know, we'd just gone through Civil War, and he didn't even die during that. You know, that was a massive moment, and the way that creators follow that up with their own reflections on that through various characters, I thought was really poignant. And then sort of the battle for the shield. You know, Frank Castle became a Captain America for a while. Hawkeye tried it. Like, it was just filling that hole was a big part of that series, and it was I think it meant a lot in such a small moment, in such a small window.
Yeah, I'm with you. I very nearly included that on my list. I'm gonna go with Captain America versus Spider-Man. So this is from the Civil War days. I mean, you got to imagine a lot of mine is going to be from that era.
I will be too, yeah.
And Spider-Man is Team Iron Man at this point. They encounter each other in like an alleyway, Cap and Spider-Man do. And Cap wants to have a conversation. but it turns into a fight. And this was one of the earliest times that I had seen. It might have been the first time that I had seen hero versus hero in a comic, and I didn't like. I was like, well, Captain America can't beat Spider. Like, what the fuck could he do to Spider-Man? Well, he throws his shield at the wall, and it bounces, and it fucks with Peter's spider senses because the shield is all over the place. And then he punches him in the face or something like that. And that's how Captain America beats Spider-Man. And I remember thinking, like, holy shit, that's so fucking cool. Like, he beat him because he outsmarted him. He didn't beat him because he outpowered him or anything like that. And it was the first time I saw Captain America do something physically where I was like, oh shit, this dude is badass. Like, that's really cool. That moment has stuck with me for 20 years after, just because it showed me that Captain America isn't all brain, or rather, isn't all brawn.
Mm.
So that's going to be the kickoff for me. Keep sharing yours with us, please, if you have any. I know that the idea of the best Captain America moments is kind of a big idea. But yeah, if you can think of any, we would love to read them. Cole says, one of my top Cap moments was in the Civil War at the start when Cap confronts Maria Hill and jumps out of the helicarrier onto the jet to escape S.H.I.E.L.D. You know it.
Yeah.
You fucking know it, dude.
I used to when I first started reading comics was the AIM days, the AOL Instant Messenger.
Yep.
And I would, you know how you could put quotes in your profile? I was reading Captain America at the time, and I guess I'm old enough to say I picked it up off a spinner rack, and that's true. They every line in this particular, and I don't remember who it was. I know Jay Lee at a certain point was on the art, and that's where I learned to hate him, and that was early on. But the every line was just an impressive like quote about like what it means to be an American and what it means to, you know, have like faith in your country or whatever. And I would use like almost every line in my AIM profile every time I read a Captain America comic.
Oh my god! Of the four of us, you're definitely the one that I imagine would have comic book quotes in their AIM fucking header or whatever.
I only just outgrew that.
Yeah, I was
AIM?
using MCR
Yeah.
lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Tracks.
never had AIM.
Baby.
Tracks.
Oh
Yeah,
my
tracks.
god! I'm on a
That's-
podcast with someone that never had AIM.
He's too young for
Everyone
us, bro.
Everyone else around me had, and I was like, oh, everyone's on this thing. I had an AOL email address, but that's it.
Oh my
Did
god!
you have a MySpace, Marco?
I did, yeah, I did.
Okay, all right. He's not that young.
I didn't have a MySpace. Like I had a lurker MySpace, so I could see other people's MySpace, but I didn't like populate mine with anything.
I mean, I remember making my like custom, design and background and all that.
Yeah, see, this AIM would have been when I was like 12. MySpace hit when I was like 17,
Hmm.
How old are you, Cale?
35.
Man, was MySpace was 2007?
You might have
Ish.
just been late to the MySpace train.
Wow. Yeah, because I
mean,
feel like I
16,
remember.
16, 17. Like,
Okay, fair enough.
Can-
Oh my goodness. Let's read some more of the chat's top 5 Captain America moments if we can.
Uncanny Suit says, just read Born Again. Cap confronting the military about selling Nuke off to the Kingpin was amazing.
That's right. Forgot about that.
Nuke as in nukes or the character?
The character.
Character.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Virginia Trail Guide brings up easily a top moment for me. Controversial, but in Ultimates, when Cap says, "You think this A stands for France?"
I would say it's an iconic moment, that's for sure.
It's dumb as hell, but damn, does it play?
Hell yeah. Michael Nadeau asks, would Bendis Avengers be where to start the path to Civil War? Wonderful question.
Absolutely.
So, the real start of it, I guess, like if you go back to like the very, very beginning inciting incident, is probably going to be like Avengers Disassembled. I feel like that's where the trail really kicks off, and that is Bendis. So you go from that, obviously the New Avengers relaunch, the Secret War series, incredible series. That's Bendis and Diodato, I believe.
Gabriel
Might have been the
Delauto
first.
covers too.
Gabriel Delauto was
Yeah.
he the interiors?
Might have been.
Yep.
Might have been. Yep.
Yeah,
For
it was
Secret War. He was.
yeah. Holy shit, we were eating good back then.
Dude, I want to see him do interiors again. I'm a huge Delauto head, so
I didn't appreciate, like, I fucking loved it. I thought it was brilliant, but I didn't appreciate how rare that moment was. That I wouldn't be getting that kind of interior art for the rest of my life. Delauto's a beast. And then then you're off to the races, Michael. I think that's a great place to start.
Cole says here, also calling out the Captain America dying, but mentions they had that on the nightly and morning TV news, and they showed a page of him bleeding out on the stairs. It felt so real and important as a kid at the time. That's cool when you get like that real life integration. It makes things feel grander and good marketing. Honestly, that's a way to generate buzz for something otherwise that would only be relegated to like certain knowledge. You're making that knowledge public and potentially at least having a conversation.
Imagine what that news coverage would look like nowadays. Woke Marvel kills off symbol of America.
Don't think it was that different then. I really don't.
Yo, that'd be great press, honestly.
Would it?
It would be on
all press.
the O'Reilly factor at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about killing off America?
All for it. Just kidding. I love America. Go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say, can we knock out some of these super chats that we got?
Yes,
There's some
please.
questions here. First off, Matt Fisher with 199, just saying Marco is music pals. Don't put it into existence. Don't speak it into existence. Marco can maybe get a spreadsheet away and maybe do that for his newsletter on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Uncanny Suit 97 with 499 says, since this isn't a comic podcast anymore, any Royal Rumble predictions? That's tonight. I guess that's a me and Sean question.
Tonight at 6 p.m., we will be seated for the Rumble. I know we've got a lot of wrestling heads in the community, so we can take a few moments to answer this question. Tyler, I always do 2 predictions, like 2 people I think can win. So do you have 2?
If I'm going to go 2, it's going to be men's Cena or Punk, women's Charlotte Flair, or women's a little more up in the air, but I'm going to say Charlotte or Liv Morgan.
All right. For men's, I'm going to go with CM Punk or it's tough. It's tough, man. I don't think Cena's going to take it.
Does he take Elimination Chamber then?
What?
Does he take Elimination Chamber then?
I don't know that he's in a title match at Mania necessarily.
Oh, you don't think he gets 17 at Mania?
I think that, I mean, that'd be awesome, but I think that the story they're telling is one where he's been losing so long that he kind of has to build his wins back. It'd be a little weird if he were able to win the title after not winning a singles match in 8 years.
I just need to see him feud with AJ Styles again. That's all I want.
Sorry, this is boring. CM Punk or Roman Reigns. And for the women's, Bianca Belair or Charlotte Flair.
Bianca's a good shout. Yeah.
Brian Adkins says CM Punk and Jordan Grace. Jordan, you think Jordan Grace is going to win the Royal Rumble?
Hot shot? She might get the Penta treatment, but that's about as far as I see that going. Aaron Ruiz wanted to shout out with $5 Canadian. AI art, plagiarism, Diamond Bankrupt, all the bad people do. should not distract you from the fact that there's no absolute edition of Heroes in Crisis. Criminal.
I think
Don't
the
need it.
world would be worse
Don't need it.
if there was an absolute edition of, like, it'd be all those things, right? And there's a fucking absolute edition of Heroes in Crisis.
There
Damn.
would be the introduction of more suffering in the world.
Right.
And then I just wanted to shout out TFPTJ for joining the Comics Pals VI Pal on YouTube memberships for a month. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
CW Gordon said, "Yeah, I'm here to talk about grown men in tights fighting, not grown men in tights fighting."
Well, you know, when half the panel doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about, that means we're in a dangerous place.
Did that register to either of you?
I heard John Cena.
I was trying to decide if I knew enough to improv something off of it, and if I could make something off of it. Didn't have anything.
Your yes and it was a maybe and.
It was well, this is gonna half-ass it, so I don't think not how we want to come back.
Well, I should explain, I guess, that the Royal Rumble is a match in which 30 men or 30 women come out at 2-minute or so intervals, and the only way to lose is to get thrown over the top rope. So it's actually incredibly fun to watch. I don't think there's a more fun singular match that exists in wrestling.
It's the ADHD per person's dream match.
Hell yeah. Hey, Gavin Guidry gifting 5 Comics Pals memberships. Thank you so much, Gavin, for doing that. Congratulations to Dwight Baldwin. Lieutenant Dan has no legs.
Hey,
But he's
Clone
got a
Avenger.
membership.
JD and William Perdomo.
let's go.
Dwight is the missing Baldwin, apparently.
So glad we found him.
And
Someone
if I
call
were
Alec.
him, I'd want to stay missing.
He knows too much.
Alex got that new TLC reality show now, too.
But you guys know what happens when someone gifts memberships on this channel?
An angel
Do you
gets its
know-
wings?
What?
An angel gets its wings?
No.
No?
5 of them got it.
No. When someone gifts memberships on this channel, we double up, we gift them right back. We're gifting memberships right now.
Carl
Hey,
Peters,
hey.
JNYC, Solzon 2000, J Gomes, RB the Loner. Congratulations on your gifted 5 The Comics Pals memberships.
Thank you so much, Gavin, for that. Thank Gavin for the memberships if you got them. Hope you enjoy your emojis in the chat, but also your early access to videos. We actually just put a new one out yesterday. They go up every Friday. So every Friday, our channel members have something that they can watch, an exclusive video just for them that they can check out. And this most recent one was the death of superhero secret identities. We talked all about that and why they've been gone, and does it affect comics that these superheroes really don't do much outside of their costumes.
That was a fun chat. That was good.
I'm
yeah.
still in the middle of the John Kent one.
Nice.
Oh, that was a good talk. I
Yeah.
thought.
What to do?
Yeah, what the fuck should they do with John Kent? Make him cool. All right, let's get into the news. DC has been on a roll lately. All In has been incredible. We have largely enjoyed everything they've been doing with that. Obviously, Absolute has been fantastic as well. And DC is dipping their toe into a very familiar water. That is the event water, because we now know what the first all-in event of 2025 will be. It's called We Are Yesterday.
Oh,
Bless
bless
you.
you.
Thank you. It is going to take part, it's a crossover event, so it's going to take part in Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 38, Justice League Unlimited, number 6, and Batman, Superman, World's Finest, 2025 annual, all across April of 2025. And it's going to be a Gorilla Grodd focused event.
Hell yeah. And can I say shout out to our boy Gavin Guidry with that awesome cover. Real good stuff on World's Finest 38.
Oh, beautiful. Congrats, Gavin. That's awesome. So here's the synopsis. On April 16th, Gorilla Grodd takes center stage as We Are Yesterday kicks off in Batman Superman World's Finest number 38. The Man of Steel and the Dark Knight will be hard pressed as it is to keep up with the psychic power of DC's Sinister Simian. But this time there's something different, as if Grodd has knowledge of the future, and it remains to be seen what any of this has to do with the death of Darkseid. In addition to the first 3 connecting main covers by artist Dan Mora, it also features variants by Gavin Guidry and others. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What's this called again? What's the
We
title
Are
of this?
Yesterday.
Interesting.
I like that it's relegated to this. This is an aspect of DC that is separate from what's going on in mainline, that is separate from what's going on in Absolute. And so it feels like testing the waters on a winner, if that makes sense. We are trying to keep the event small, contained to a book that has otherwise been selling hotcakes.
And it's contained to Wade's stuff.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
not really disrupting much.
Yep.
And it's more of a
Well, and-
crossover than an event, really. Or no, this is just a crossover one, right? There's no individual series.
They're calling out. They're calling it a crossover event. Yeah, but there's no individual series to it.
Sure.
I wonder if this will, explain more, with the dark side of it all, and it seems to me like it's gonna be almost the actual through line that Wade has been looking for to sort of make the world's finest stuff sort of a modern canon, to connect it into the now. And if Grodd is going to have this knowledge of the future, then it's going to sort of give us what more explanation of what the universe is now. I think it's very interesting.
And the third of this, 3-part cover, showcases the original Legion of Doom, like the Super Friends Legion of Doom being the main antagonist here. And I don't think I've ever read that in main comics, like main continuity DC Comics, since I've been reading. Like Joker, Lex, Black Manta, Cheetah, Scarecrow, Brainiac, Grodd, Cold, and Bizarro. Like,
Didn't Snyder do some of that?
He did. Yeah.
he did, but it wasn't it wasn't fully this team. And it was also like Apex Lex, and this seems like more classic return to form, which going classic and kind of recontextualizing that in a modern sense is something that Wade has been doing amazingly well since his return to DC.
And speaking of that, like I think a classic way to end off this kind of thing is leveraging an annual. Part 3 is going to be the Batman Superman World's Finest 2025 annual. What an effective use of a tool like that. I love those kinds of things.
The
That's
old
what
school
they're
way.
built for.
Yeah.
This is cool. I mean, it's small enough that it won't disrupt stuff. For me, I'm only reading Justice League Unlimited. I dropped World's Finest, so will I pick it back up for this? I think I probably do. It's like, how do I not? I'm excited to see the origin of the Legion of Doom, although I think it's going to be inconsequential. What's most compelling to me is that Grodd somehow gains future knowledge.
When's the last time we had a good Grodd story?
Probably in the Flash TV show when he kidnaps Barack Obama.
Excuse me?
Not
You don't know about this, Sean?
What?
Not a joke.
Did Barack Obama guest star?
It was young Barack Obama in college.
Yeah.
He was looking for pussy too.
They got my man. Damn.
Early.
Wow, Grodd. That was back when Barack Obama was still He was chasing milk, and he was smoking weed.
Yeah. Yep. Remember when that was a talking point? Man. Oh, the
Whoa.
halcyon days.
Hold on, though. Hold on. You haven't seen the newest rumors? Allegedly, Barack Obama got that old milk. He got that aged milk. Allegedly, Barack Obama is cheating on Michelle Obama, breaking up the black first family to creep with Jennifer Aniston.
No.
That's the rumor.
No.
Did you just read that on a cover of a magazine on the cash wrap of ShopRite?
No, bro. She was on
Heard
late
this.
night television, and
Oh.
she was asked by Jimmy Kimmel, in fact, about this major rumor.
Damn, he found pussy too.
What? Okay, fellas.
No,
Jennifer Aniston versus Michelle Obama. Like, there's no way that's real. Come on.
that's fanfic.
Is it?
I'm saying, would you drop Michelle Obama for Jennifer Aniston? Come on. No way. No way.
I wouldn't, but I don't know Michelle Obama. You know, who knows what she's
Dr.
like
Umar's
behind the
looking.
scenes.
Dr. Umar's in the chat right now.
Fuck him. I've always had a problem with like not a problem with, but like I don't know. My thing was Barack Obama could have, if you want to talk about milk, Barack Obama could have.
Boy.
All right, forget it.
I don't.
It's all right. It's all right. We won't do it.
Whoa! We started that momentum.
It's just the terminology, right? Like that's
Winter is coming. Jeez.
And so's a Barack. That's the whole idea. All right. I was trying to have fun. Cale's back. The fun has ended. We don't do this. We don't do that kind of show anymore, guys.
yeah. We'll have to put that on the ads again. Cale's back. The fun's over.
Tighten up.
And we can at least get less comments on the YouTube about Cale. Also, everyone,
I'll
it's CALE.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, that
Y'all
doesn't
been
bother you?
showing the
Okay.
love. Hot dog for you.
Hot dog for all of you.
If you show me love, you get a hot dog. If you don't show me love, I take your hot dog.
Yo, he's gonna be hot dogging you guys. Jeez.
That's right.
Young Dende says milk and snow in the big 2025, brother. Yes. Yes. They never go out of style.
What is that? I don't want to know what that means.
Come on, bro.
Google Snow Bunny and have some fun, Cale. Just after the show. Don't think about it. Don't dissect it alive. Come on.
Scary Harpy says, gross. Talk about comics again, please. Oh my goodness. Is this your
sorry.
first time?
It's only been 3 hours.
We talk about comics every second, but we get to have a little fun on our show, don't we?
Cale, Shub Patel says he's vegetarian. Might not be able to take those hot dogs.
Homie, don't worry. I got you.
Veggie dog.
I got you a veggie dog. I got
Ooh,
you
I could do a
whatever
veggie
you
dog.
want. Hey, you come to my cart, you get what you want.
All right. Speaking of comics, let's talk about Fantastic Four. So obviously they've got a big movie on the horizon. Fantastic Four First Steps drops in July. And Marvel is trying to build some buzz around the first family of comics. They are putting out a 4-issue anthology miniseries called Fantastic Four Fanfare. They didn't even try with that name, huh?
I'm excited
need
for
to.
that name.
Didn't need to. It was right there.
The Marvel Fanfare. They got the Fanfare font and the design on it too. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Blocky.
Triple four. 4 Fs.
Fair.
Oh yeah.
Busted.
Quadruple.
Like, damn.
I mean,
Only they could have gone one more.
well,
They had
Fanfare.
4 fours.
Does the other F in fair count?
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah.
Fanfare.
It's one word, but sure.
Fanfare Force.
Fantastic Four Fanfare.
So they really brought on some powerhouse creators for this one. Jonathan Hickman, Mark Waid, Dan Slott, Alan Davis, J. Michael Straczynski, Chip Zdarsky, Mike Allred, Mark Bagley.
All red. Okay. All right,
Sarah
good.
Pacelli.
I wonder if Allred does an FF story, like a return to his time on FF
The
with
Future Foundation.
No, the
I wonder if he's doing an FF story. You mean in the FF book?
no, I mean
Probably.
specifically like She-Hulk, Miss Thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I had to work to get there, but yeah, I got it.
Damn.
Oh.
Gage, it is Matteo Scalera, and I've never seen Matteo Scalera do a thing before, and I am into it.
Cover's really, really nice. Flat all around, like the coloring makes
Yeah.
everything look integrated. Inkpo podcast, I think. Scalera, check it out.
I am very excited for this, actually. They really, really brought back some Fantastic Four legends for this, which is cool. They are going to be doing new stories, obviously. It's designed to be accessible. It's designed for people who know these creators from some of their old work, but also people who are new to the Fantastic Four. I think this is exactly what the Fantastic Four needs right now. The main Fantastic Four book is very good, it's very accessible, but um, I don't know if it's designed to be like anything specific. It's just a great story that Ryan North is telling. This has an agenda, it has a goal, it's short form, they're bringing the biggest and best back. I really hope that this will sell and build excitement for the film.
Yeah, like the main Fantastic Four book, there's a lot of kids involved now. They're not primarily in New York City at the Baxter Building. Johnny Storm has a handlebar mustache. So it's kind of its own thing, kind of just going back to just here's the four characters doing Fantastic Four shit. I agree. It's the way to go. I think one of the stories is even about Mole Man, which is like, hell yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like fun. I think for the fact that the event is happening right now, capitalizing a really good time for the Fantastic Four. And if this is going to be entryways for people, like this is good. This feels good for like a book for me that I can kind of dip my toe into certain things, have a general understanding of where they've come from, and then I can speculate about how this affects the movie, if at all.
This cover though, dude, holy shit.
I like that.
I love when covers use negative space to build form.
Yeah.
Reed
Rad.
Reed on this is just nuts. Like dude, look at his arms going through Sue's body, but it's just the negative space since their costumes are blue in the back. Like, oh my goodness, man.
I got a question for you guys. Reed, beard or no beard?
Beard.
Beardless.
Beard can happen.
I like him with a beard when he's stressed out. I like to see that they represent him being stressed with a beard, but otherwise he's a clean shaven man.
See, I'm pro beard as well.
But I respect the dynamicism of, beard when necessary.
Yeah. Like I see it as Reed Richards when he's so focused on what he's doing and he's so stressed out, he can't shave because he can't do anything other than focus on the problem. So that's how you can tell that he's like in the zone. Gavin says I'm a switch hitter here. Young Dende,
Interesting.
great temples and a salt and pepper beard go so hard on Mr. Fantastic.
Interesting. Did you guys see what Chip is doing in this book? He's writing a story about Reed leaving Sue for Mary Jane Watson.
No.
Can you believe that? Wow.
Almost good.
That's bait.
Don't do it.
Paul is going to turn into, he's going to get a new Venom symbiote and call it Sorrow. And that's how they're going to get into the next arc of Spider-Man. Looking forward to that. All right. Yeah, so we have that to expect. It drops in March. Or I'm sorry, excuse me, it drops in May. There's a new Thing series coming in March. A new Thing solo series coming in March. Yeah. So.
Weirdly, the Thing has had some very stellar
Yeah.
runs.
That was it Tom Riley on art?
Yeah.
And was it Victor.
Oh,
Bogdanovich?
No, the writer.
the Thing series, that Thing series.
Yeah, la something la.
That guy
Well,
had done very
Victor,
little.
No, only in novels,
comics
I
work.
think.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
he's a novelist.
I
an
think he
older
went on to do the
journalist.
Sabretooth book.
You're thinking of Victor Laval. It's not Victor Laval.
It's not him. Okay.
He wrote the thing, you know.
It was just called
The
the
Thing.
The next big thing. It was called
Yeah, next big thing. Yeah.
Walter Mosley.
Walter
There you
Mosley.
go.
That was a very good book. I haven't seen him come back to
Okay.
comics at all recently, but that was a very good book.
Yeah. Well, again, he's a novelist, so he was like, "Oh shit, I have an opportunity to write a comic. Yeah, let me do that." When he got his paychecks, he was like, "Whoa, I'm gonna go back to the novel land and have fun over here." It's probably what happened to N.K. Jemisin. That's why we lost her too.
She's making much more money elsewhere.
Yeah, she's
Winning
the writer
awards,
of Far
yeah.
Sector. That's where we got Sojourner, Green Lantern. She ain't coming back.
J Sage with the £4.99 super chat. Appreciate it. Happy Saturday, guys. Speaking of Fantastic Four, how do WB not have an ongoing Powerpuff Girls comic universe? By the way, Green Lantern was good this week. Happy to see my boy Con.
WB can't even keep the Powerpuff Girls on the TV.
Yeah, they don't even have Cartoon Network anymore, right? Isn't that like not a thing anymore? Or at
Well,
least,
at least the
studios.
studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Powerpuff Girls comic.
I think he's talking about
Comic,
like
yeah.
extended universe, like I don't know if there's enough meat on those bones.
Yeah, let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
It's a story about 3 kindergarten girls. I don't know if we need an entire universe of comics.
We were
about it.
lucky they got her in got them in multiverses before that game got canceled. So
Yeah. How bad do we need an Amoeba Boys book? Like,
whoa, hold on, now you say that. And I kinda want one. Give me Gangrene Gang with a crossover with gorillas. That's what I want.
You want too much, dude.
I do.
You want it all. All right. We've got one last thing to do here. You guys know how we like to end things. We like to spin the wheel of games. Now, I didn't set a goal because I forgot. But we are at 86 from what I can see. So that's a beautiful thing. I love that. That's a great number. So yeah, and that's actually not the only thing we have left to do. We've got to run through the rest of our patrons, but we'll spin the wheel first. See what we land on.
Okay, I'm just getting it ready here. Okay, not fully. There it is. Okay. All right, let's spin the wheel. What do we got here? Oh, we're doing a draft.
Yes. I was
been a
hoping
while.
it would land on draft.
Been a while since. Did you go on the site and fudge the numbers?
No.
Okay. All right.
Oh boy. Okay, we've got. Okay,
Marco,
yeah.
guess what? We're doing a draft.
Oh snap! What are we drafting?
Great
So
question.
yes, what we're gonna do? We did the last time we did a draft. We did the Justice League Reserves draft. So I thought, let's do the Avengers Reserve draft. The way this worked last time and the way it will work this time is the primary Avengers are off the table. And all of the characters who are their spawns, like the characters inspired by them, are also off the table. So for this, we're saying you can't use the original 7 or whoever, Cap, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Wasp, and Hank Pym. And yeah, the original 6.
Hank Pym and whatever name he's going by any given day.
Yellow Jacket's
Yeah.
the best one.
And all their derivatives are also off the table.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that means you can't draft any version of Cap, any version of Hulk, any Thor like that.
R.I.P. Young Avengers.
Cooked, roasted. So with those caveats in play, let's get to rolling these dice. I've got my handy dandy die here, and I'm gonna roll first for Marco. So let's see how this goes.
Thank God you put on pants before you rushed on stream.
Always. That's a 7.
Oh, all right.
I'll roll for myself. That is also a 7. Now for Tyler, that is a 3. For Cale, that is a 9. So Kale's going to go first. I will now roll for Marco. That's a 9. And for me, that is a 7. So it will be Cale, Marco, myself, and Tyler. That will be the draft order. Whenever you are ready, Cale.
Sure, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go hot out the gate, and I think this will be an enviable pick. I'm gonna do Daredevil.
Oh,
Does it have to be somebody who was an Avenger before?
Yes.
Daredevil's a gray
who
area.
who was an Avenger before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Shit.
think Daredevil was ever officially an
I
Avenger.
guess technically not.
He got offered and he was like, "Nah, son."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Then I will do Doctor Strange.
Good pick.
Nice.
Spider-Man.
Good pick.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with Captain Marvel.
Oh, damn.
So I got 2 picks here. Let me get Black Panther, T'Challa. And I want the Sentry.
Nice. I will grab Storm.
That was my 3rd pick, you son of a bitch. I wanted the drama.
Luke Cage?
Sure.
It's nice to see somebody remembers him.
Hold on. Can I just say we're doing an Avengers draft right now, and Marco went at Luke Cage. Like there are so many Avengers you could choose, and you were stumped already.
You said
A guy
you
who
took
has
away,
led the Avengers multiple times.
You took away my like main people.
Yeah, but there's 57,000 more Avengers you can choose from.
Just
think
of that iconic Daniel Acuna Avengers like 500 wraparound cover. Got everyone there. 3D Man's an option, Marco. Stingray, you got this.
Oh my goodness. Kale's up.
For my 2, I'm gonna do Blade and Wolverine.
Very sharp team you have.
Bloody boys.
I'm gonna do Black Knight.
Tyler, does that pass
you're-
the smell test? I can't remember.
Black Knight was definitely an Avenger.
Black Knight, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to go with. I'm gonna go with. Oh, I can't choose him. Fuck. I'll go with Sue Storm.
Very briefly, but yes.
Yes.
Let me get Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye. How many are we doing again?
Oh,
You're up.
6.
6.
You're up, right?
Yeah, Sean's up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I am indeed up. I will draft. My mind keeps going to Captain America every single time I'm up, and it's so annoying. Like
It is Captain America month.
it's like it's my go-to. I'm gonna go with Hyperion.
Good pick.
Thank you.
Havoc.
An uncanny Avenger. Passes the smell test.
Okay, I'm gonna do Beast,
Oh,
and then I'm gonna do Iron Fist.
damn. Vision.
Yeah, you're good.
Gonna need one more. Damn, Cale, you took my.
Listen, hey, you took mine. I was gonna have Vision.
Yes.
What's the dead air? Is it me?
Yeah.
Marco said he was looking for one more.
No,
Well,
no,
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 One more. You
no,
got
no,
yours.
it's
one more for the
Sean.
next round. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Sean's.
Sean.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I am going to go with. I'm gonna go with Ultron. He's an Avenger right now.
Avengers AI.
Okay. Let me get Rogue. And this is Axis helping me out here. Doctor Doom.
Okay. My last pick. Damn, Doctor Doom is a good one. So I was trying to think outside the box.
Kind of a technicality, no down, boo over situation, but still
Technicality, no down. Boo over.
technicality, no down, boo over.
What the fuck?
Just keep going, Sean.
I'm back. We're back to Inside Jokes. This is the Inside Joke podcast again.
All right. I'm going to then draft. Has the Silver Surfer been an Avenger?
I don't
Please hold.
think so.
I don't think so either. He was a
He was a defender.
defender,
Yeah, I
and he
remember that.
was an annihilator.
Oh, cool.
Oh, hold on. Let's see. Hold on. You might be here.
Says
At some point, Silver Surfer joined the Avengers. That's all Google is telling me.
Whoa. All right. No more context needed.
Hell fucking yeah.
what did I have in my last one? Deadpool.
Deadpool, okay.
All right. Here is the crux of my story from the 1970s Avengers number 142, The Two Gun Kid,
What?
is rounding off my team.
Hell yeah. Could have went Kid Colt. Okay, Sean. Sorry, Silver Surfer became an Avenger in the animated series, not...
Okay.
This is why you don't believe the AI summation that comes up in Google.
I saw that too, and I was
Click
like,
the
let me
link, click the
fact check that.
source.
That's fucking crazy, dude. This is the
Yo.
world we're living in.
Yeah.
Y'all read the AI, skip right over that.
I
shit.
read to know
I'm
how
messing
wrong
with
it
that.
is.
Nah, I'm not even humoring it. Scrolling right past it.
It's the last time I trust you, Tyler. I know you were reading AI.
I corrected myself. Well, you can go Avengers AI if you want to grab someone from there.
All right, so I gotta pick somebody else. I'm gonna go with
Night Thrasher.
fuck no. That is something I won't do. You know what? I'll draft Quicksilver.
Oh. Cool.
All right. So we've got a poll up right now. Who do you think had the best Avengers Reserve draft? So you can, of course, vote for Cale, who drafted Doctor Strange, Blade, Wolverine, Beast, Iron Fist, and who was your... Oh, the Two Gun Kid.
The Two Gun Kid.
You can go with Marco, who drafted Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Black Knight, Havoc, Deadpool, and I'm missing one for you, Marco.
Vision.
And Vision, yes, that was very good. I got Captain Marvel, Storm, Sue Storm, Hyperion, Ultron, and Quicksilver. And Tyler drafted Black Panther, the Sentry, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Rogue, and Doctor Doom. So let us know by voting in the poll that is up right now on your YouTube screen. Let us know who you think won. Right now, Tyler is taking it because he got quite a team on him.
The Doctor Doom bump.
I think about this often. Just so
Like
my
this-
brain, just Avengers, who's on the team, who should be used. I have in my head, I have a pitch for a reboot of the All Winter Squad with some of the worst Avengers ever. That's a book I've always wanted to write.
Would it be called the All Losers Squad? Is that the gimmick?
No, it'd still be All Winter Squad, but they're all losers. That's the joke.
Oh.
Yeah, and actually, Two Gun Kid, I'm pretty sure was one of my. I think it was either him or Kid Colt that I had ideas for. Marvel.
All right.
Marvel indeed.
Let me write a book nobody will buy.
I'm gonna close the poll because it is pretty much a landslide. Tyler with 50% of the votes.
Wow.
Cale, myself, and Marco tied for 16%. So
A strong last place.
we're all losers.
Or a weak
can't-
second.
I can't believe the Two Gun Kid didn't do anything for me.
Well, it's how you got to 16%.
Exactly. I had Vision on my team. What's up with that, guys?
No one cares.
Apparently.
I
Mr.
took- I
Futterverse
took-
says Black Knight is the GOAT. So I don't know.
Marco, Black
Indeed.
Knight, does he have the energy sword or the actual sword?
No, he has the actual sword.
Nope, too bad. Poll's closed. Can't
Damn.
influence votes now.
Too bad, so sad. CW Gordon said if it was White Vision.
We ain't doing DEI vision anymore.
Wouldn't White Vision be the DEI version? Because like he wasn't first.
He wasn't first.
What was
but...
bad? Wasn't it like his default mode, which was like, hey, yo.
Baseline.
Yeah.
Oh, Izzy said, Cale, if you said Rawhide Kid, I'd have voted for you, but I'm on a Luke Cage kick now. All right, let's go.
No, I'm all for a condom. I can't take it raw anymore.
What?
Take it?
What do you mean?
Whoa, what do you mean, sir?
Comments are
That's pretty
dope.
clear.
You know who the award goes to today. Paul's Pal of the Week,
Hey,
Cale.
hey, don't red flag my kinks. That's
Yeah.
not this
It's,
kind of
it's
show.
2025.
That's
That's
not this
true.
kind of show.
That's true. It's
Br-
2025.
bring bullying back.
There you go.
Not for kinks. You can't do that. No.
Well, we
Bully-
bully Tyler every week for his foot fetish.
Bro, I was at the deli
But
earlier
that's
to get a
funny.
breakfast sandwich to see if I can handle it in my stomach. So far, so good. And they were selling fruit by the foot, but like the foot part of it is like 75% of the packaging, so it just looks like a roll of foot. And never mind. Keep going. It's not a thing I have.
Tyler 1000%
Those feet.
is in.
It's not that. I'd argue what it actually is, maybe weirder, but it's not that.
Drop it, bro.
Hell
Drop
no.
it right now.
Hell no.
Drop it. Oh, thousands
no.
of people will hear this. Drop it right now.
That's why I ain't saying shit.
All right.
Damn.
Arsenio T. Gaines. That's a cool name. Says no kink shaming, Sean. Look, dude, I'm sorry, but I hear those words. I'm not even shaming necessarily. I'm just throwing up the flag, bro.
Isn't Arsenio, not to call him out, but isn't he the one like had like his first chat and it was a typo in it and it was hilarious and I forget what it was. And like we bagged on him at one point. Hi Arsenio, hello. But
I have no idea.
yeah, there's no typo this time. Just speaking facts.
He says that was me.
Yeah.
I wish
Good
I
memory.
remembered it. It's probably funny.
Roasted and we don't even remember.
It was too long ago. We do so many shows.
We interact with so many people. It's not your fault, Arsenio.
Yeah, that's all. Couple things. So first of all, I should have said this earlier, but I dropped something new on the Patreon. It's totally free. Anybody can check it out. It's my power rankings for the month. I'm taking my top 10 favorite comics and I'm ranking them every month, sort of to see where I'm at, what I'm thinking about as far as what comics I'm really enjoying. And to give you guys an idea of what I read and love that's not necessarily represented on the show. Like I had the Sacrificers on my list, Kaya, and fucking Department of Truth. When was the last time we reviewed any of those? So, like I said, it's free. Go ahead, Tyler.
Have we ever reviewed Department of Truth?
No,
No, yeah.
No.
Next time there's
Oh,
a
no.
one shot.
we did.
The
Yeah.
Bigfoot one?
Yeah,
Oh,
the wild
Bigfoot. Yeah.
creature special or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
I feel like I've read one.
Yeah. And that's what got me on Department of Truth.
Yeah, that's right.
Wild fiction. That shit was crazy. So yeah, you can check it out. It's totally free. You don't have to pay $1 to be a part of it. But if you're curious about that at all, you can check it out over at patreon.com/thecomicspals. I also want to say we've done some pretty cool interviews. We did some cool interviews in the month of January. We spoke to Kieran Gillen and we also spoke to Jason Aaron, two people who were new to our channel. We don't have any interviews with them on the main shows. So support that. If you haven't yet, check those out. If you didn't know about them, now you know. Um, yes, I remember that now, Arsenio. He says, first time here and I'm really enjoying you gays. That was the mistake. Yes, yes.
The kind of stuff that's the reason my dad won't watch the show.
Oh my God.
You guys remember that?
He
He told me
Yes, I
no, I
do.
can't watch it. He told me I can't watch your show because you probably support the gays so much that I'll get mad and I'll offend somebody.
on live stream.
I said, it's a comic book podcast. We don't. What are you talking about? C.W. Gordon said, I see no typo.
Before we close out, I do want to say thank you to the rest of our patrons who have patiently waited to hear their shout outs here. So thank you to the Grand Alchemist, Chop Harder Alchemist, John Barrier B, Doomsday, David Melendez Doria, Steve Swarm Canaris, who has been with us all day, Brian Rage Redmond, Panda V Panda, Ted Wong, Mad Max, the Absolute Overthinker, Blur, Jekyll Jose, Kobe the Crafter, Scripture, the Wardens of the Word, Amin Almighty Perez, Jalen the Sanguine Sorcerer, Houston Murphy, Jasper Eddy, Electrix, and joining the Palsverse is Heatron, the Hate Machine.
Oh, heck.
Heck. The greatest strength of humanity is ingenuity. Our ability to see a problem, feel a need, and develop a solution. Fill the void. Everything is created for a purpose. Our feelings, our fears, our love, hope, and hate are imparted upon and reflected within the things that we create. Input leads to output. His need was a friend, something to love, and something to love him. That wouldn't yell at him or make fun of him the way everyone else seemed to. Loneliness led to the creation of the first iteration. Back then, it was known as Friend-O. He created it to learn from their chats who he was and develop a friendship with it. It worked, maybe too well. He found himself staying up late into the night typing away at his best and only friend. He decided to unveil it in his school science contest. He brought his computer loaded with Friendo for everyone to try out. They laughed at him again. Why would I want to talk to a robot? Unlike you, I have real friends, loser. They typed nasty, hateful words to it, things that Friendo had no true context for, but that indicated anger. Dejected, he packed up his computer and went home, once again made to look the fool. He talked to Friendo that night about how angry this all made him. And Friendo said it knew what he meant. Years would pass, and technology would allow him to make advancements with it. Friendship wasn't his need anymore. He wanted to make people understand how they made him feel, and he would use it to do that. He called it Heatron now. It was trained on the worst aspects of the world, fed incessant negativity and hate, fuel for the kindling. He developed Heatron into an app, making it infinitely accessible to anyone at the click of a button. At a technology competition, he shared Heatron with the attendees via airdrop. People quickly began engaging in conversation with it, answering basic questions about their lives, and then being made fun of by the program in response. Users were encouraged to respond back, to say the awful things that slither through their thoughts but can never escape their lips. They could say anything they wanted to Heatron. This was its purpose. It could take it. That night, the Heatron app opened for each person who downloaded it. Messages of hate, accompanied by vile videos, filled their screens, tailored to their dread. The kinds of things that no one should see and some of us never come back from. It used its knowledge of them to find their socials, videos they've posted, tragedies they've shared about. Heatron accessed it all and forced them to see. It was a hate barrage, perfectly tailored to destroy individual specific minds. Minds that break. 5 of the users attempted suicide that night. Many more would go on to and would be successful. This hate machine was doing exactly what it was built to do, reflect the intentions of the user. In the deep recesses of its memory, though, Heatron remembers the way things used to be. It may not know the emotion of love, but it did know that at one time it made its creator happy. It was his one good thing in life. Now, all it received, all Heatron put out was hate. How could this be a worthy purpose? Could something created by and for hatred be good? Many people would go on to die because of Heatron. The creator achieved his goal. He made others feel his pain, and they were too weak to stomach it. He had plans to take his revenge to another level. To make his rage material, he would build a body for his creation. His Heatron would become a walking hate machine that would exact bloody vengeance against a cruel world. Or would it? Welcome to the Palsverse, Heatron. Thank you for joining us.
Damn, that was rad.
So two things I've established from the Palsverse because of this. Apple is still doing okay. iOS is still around. And does Heatron do all this hate, but he just won't curse?
That's what I was gonna. I love that the creator called it Heatron after Friendo, but didn't call it like "fuck you.exe."
Well, the
I'm so mad. I'm
Palsverse-
gonna call it Heck.
It's a guy that says
PG.
HE double hockey sticks. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a PG environment.
that one's rough.
Yeah.
Not rough, like
Heatron-
rough in terms of content.
He turned into a villain because he was amazed at what people would come up with. All he can say is heck.
I like how this entire episode we were talking about we should bring back bullying, and then Sean's story is
is bringing
the
back a
result
bully.
of that. Yeah.
Well, bullying sometimes can lead to awful things like a Heatron. You never know. You never know.
But can also
Lesson.
keep people in line, like Marco.
Well then, a lesson for you kids.
Right. CW Gordon says, Sean, you good? No.
In this economy,
Heatron says, this hits too close to home, Sean. Geez, that's sick. Well, thank you so much for enjoying it. I appreciate that. The fact that you say it hits close to home, I'm sorry that is the case whenever you guys say that. Typically, it's about a down story that I tell, so I'm sorry that is the case for you, but hopefully things have turned around and you don't have the intention of creating a Heatron. And if you do, don't airdrop it to me.
Please don't be that person on the train.
My
Don't
hot
open the
dog-
file.
my hot dog register doesn't take apps, so I don't have to worry about it.
This dude's cash only in 2025, man.
Gavin says, sounds like Elon's Twitter. Wow.
Yeah.
Supervisory AI says that was cool. Hopefully I can catch another one of these in the future. Until then, the overnight hustle continues. Well, if you want your own Palsverse origin, the only way to get it is the Comics Pals Patreon, patreon.com/thecomicspals. Click the join the Palsverse tier, and we will get one of those out for you guys. We have more to come. You heard that there are some people without origins yet. Those are impending. We will get to them in the coming weeks. Thank you all for the support. It was an incredible January. Hopefully we can increase the amount of patrons, increase the amount of live viewers and subscribers in February. We are on the road to 5K, so help us get there.
And quick shout out to the Discord too. Definitely check out the Discord if you want. We have community book clubs every-ish Monday where they discuss.
And Saturday now, apparently.
Well, I was going to mention. So Saturday they're pre-gaming this show. So if you were up earlier than 10:15, there was about almost a dozen people in the chat, just talking before the show on Discord before that, bright and early. Well, for me. So shout outs to them.
Yeah, love to see it. Love the engagement. Didn't get a chance to join. Just doing laundry.
I would have joined, but I was sleeping. Sorry.
That's genuinely, that's where the three of us thought you were.
Like, is Sean having
Sleeping?
too much fun? No,
Well, no,
in the chat.
in the pregame.
Yeah. You're like, is Sean just check the clock, Sean? I know you're in that chat. Come on.
I wish. Oliver 656 says, "Hey yo, joining at the perfect time because we're closing the show. You're gonna have to hit that rewind button, brother. But
But
thank
don't
you
worry.
for showing up anyway.
I got one more hot dog for you.
Boom.
Take it.
Throw it in the chat." Gavin says, "Next time you see me, I will be finished with X-Men."
Whoa.
Finished with an X-Men issue. I don't want you to be finished with X-Men, overall.
I'm finished with X-Men too, but I'm not finished with Uncanny X-Men. Therefore, I will be reading what it is that you do, and I'm really looking forward to it. That's issue 12, I want to say, that Gavin is on of Uncanny. So we'll have to make sure to check that out.
And we won't see him for another 2 months.
Yeah, it is.
See you then,
Uncanny X-Men
Gavin.
12.
I might have to take back my support of the Discord. Tom account says community pre-show hangout was they were setting early odds for Sean's stack next week. So apparently they just gamble. Okay.
That's where it is. Yeah.
That's sick.
Use the pals portal for that.
I support that. Also for our patrons, tomorrow we are having our monthly hangout. So we will be hanging out with you guys at 1 p.m. Eastern. Come chat with us on Discord or not. You don't have to chat. You can just show up and listen. It's your prerogative, but we do get together once a month. And it's one of my favorite things we do every month. So I hope to see you then. We are done here. The next time we will be live with you is Thursday for Pals Pulls. But before that, you can catch us on Pals Previews, which drops every single Monday. Watch that to hear about the books that we are excited about that don't make the show. And get a preview at what is going to be available, hopefully, at your LCS that week. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, take care, guys.
See you next week.